Stop number 3 in the Drive for 5 has been marked on everyone's calendar for months. That's because the Ramapo Raiders are coming into town. Andrew Weiss and the Raiders are in desperation mode as they arrive at Patriot Stadium trying to avoid an 0-3 start. If the Raiders can't shut down Mike Giampapa and the potent Patriots offense, then Wayne Hills will have their 5th straight win against their arch enemy. Ramapo, Wayne Hills, now!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Patriot Stadium, where tonight's North Bergen Interscholastic League contest, one of the biggest rivalries in North Jersey, will take place between the visiting Ramapo Raiders and your Wayne Hills Patriots. I'm David Suntup, joined by Andrew Gayo and Aaron Ploshnick. So guys, Ramapo comes into Patriot Stadium struggling at 0-2. They've had a tough go of it on offense and defense, while the Patriots are off to a fast 2-0 start. Is this rivalry diminished in any way since Wayne Hills has been a dominating team the last couple years and Ramapo's really been struggling since the beginning of the 2006 season?
Well, definitely the games will not be as exciting as they were in the past, but I don't think the rivalry is tainted in one bit. You look at these two teams, they've been playing each other, going each other's throats for years now. You go back to Chris Sims in '97, going down the line, Charlie Granatel, Ryan Pizzari, to Adrian Pizzari, to Chris Hogan, Wayne Hills side, Dave Adamo, Brendan Monahan, Nick Warzel, Ray Van Puna. It goes on and on the list. I can sit here for days, but no, it doesn't diminish the rivalry one bit.
You know, I have to agree with you, Andrew. It's still Wayne Hills Ramapo. It's still going to be intense. Every rivalry has its ups and downs. You can remember the times Yankees and Red Sox. Yankees were down in the 80s, Red Sox were down in the 90s. So rivalries are still rivalries. I mean, Wayne Hills has had great times with Greg Olson. Ramapo has had great times with Pizzari and Hogan. It's just something that changes every year. But no matter what, both teams are going to bring it, and that's what everybody has to understand. Even though Ramapo might be 0-2, they're going to be scrappy, and they're going to put up a fight.
Guys, what are your keys to the game tonight for the Patriots against the struggling Ramapo team?
Well, my first key definitely has to be to stop the run. The freshman for the Ramapo Green Raiders, Jake Bondanzian, the kid can run, and if the Patriots stop him, it's going to be essential. My second key to the game has to be to put pressure on the offensive and defensive line of the Ramapo Green Raiders. The largest guy on this team registers at 225 pounds. If the Patriots take advantage of that, they will be in great shape. And my third key of the game has to be, who's going to make the big play? Who wants to be the X factor in this game? Who's going to be the one remembered for his could possibly be their senior year against Ramapo and stepping up and filling the large shoes of the ones in the past that have been left behind?
Dave, Andrew, my keys of the game have to start with Wayne Hills' offensive line. It's been under a lot of scrutiny over the past 2 weeks, even though they haven't let up any points against them, but the O-line is a little bit small this year. And although Ramapo's line is also small, their defense is scrappy, and they could give Giampapa some problems when he passes the ball. My second offensive key has to be Ramapo's tale of two running backs. They have the freshman Jack Bandanzian and also the junior Andrew Imperatori, who are going to rush the ball many times. Ramapo is going to rush the ball this game, so the front seven has to be wary. And my third key, as we were talking about in the first question, is rivalry. No matter what the records are, no matter what the score is, Ramapo is always going to bring it.
Here are my keys to the game. The first key, running the ball. When Ramapo played Ultapan in the opening week at Ramapo Stadium, Jamie Rowe rushed for over 230 yards and 4 touchdowns against Ramapo. And Wayne Hills has 2 of the top running backs in North Jersey, and Dan DeSico and Carlton Marson, to really pound the ball and run the ball down Ramapo's throat. My second key to the game, a battle of the lines. Ramapo has a very small offensive line. Their average weight is about 210 pounds. Even that is being a little generous. So Wayne Hills really has to make holes for DeSico and Marson to run through. And my last key to the game, put pressure on Andrew Weiss and shut him down. Andrew Weiss, he has a great arm. He doesn't really have the weapons, but he could definitely make the big play for this Ramapo team. So, guys, Andrew Weiss, very inexperienced quarterback. First year as a starter for Ramapo. On this field 2 years ago, when he was a quarterback for the freshman team, he beat this Wayne Hills team. But other than that, he doesn't have a lot of experience. How important is it for the Wayne Hills Patriots to really get out there and put a lot of pressure on Andrew Weiss?
Well, I don't even think you can count freshman games because that is at the freshman level. This is a totally different level, and the young man you said, he's inexperienced. They got to put pressure on him. If they put pressure on him, he's going to have no time to throw the ball, and he's going to make mistakes. You give him time to throw the ball, he'll come back and bite you. But you know what? If you put pressure on him, he's going to be baffled back there, and you'll probably win the game.
The Patriots linebacking core is very experienced this year. These guys have had a lot of practice hitting guys, and they're not going to stop on Andrew Weiss. If Weiss gets time from that offensive line, you could see a very proliferate day because he is a good quarterback, which is something that people have to understand, even though his record doesn't show it. But if he doesn't have time and those linebackers penetrate, it could be a really long day for Andrew Weiss.
Guys, thank you very much. Our very own Andrew Gayo had a chance to sit down with the quarterback of your Wayne Hills Patriots, number 1, Mike Giampapa, in the second edition of One-on-One with number 1. Let's take a look.
Well, welcome to the second edition of this year's One-on-One with number 1. I'm Andrew Gayo, alongside me, the quarterback for the Wayne Hills Patriots, Mike Giampapa. Mike, 49-0 versus Bergen Field, really a lopsided game. Vin Rubinetti, however, in the beginning seemed to be a problem. He's a scrambling quarterback. You're going to play Ramapo this week in week 3. Andrew Weiss, a little different, more of a pocket presence. How does your defense look to stop him?
We had to play a little different game. Like you said, Vin Rubinetti could run the ball a lot, so we were kind of keeping that in the back of our mind this week. If we don't cover people, they can definitely throw the ball on us. So I think our D-backs got to lock down the receivers a little better and just be prepared for the pass.
This line for the Ramapo Green Raiders on both sides of the ball, the offensive and the defensive, very small. The biggest man registering at 225 pounds. How do you guys intend to take advantage of that, particularly because you guys are just huge?
We got to pound the ball with Danny and Carlton, up the middle primarily, and then that definitely opens up a lot of the play action passes. That's our game. So I think we just got to stick to the game and execute it well, and I think we shouldn't have a problem.
They have 2 guys on this team that really stand out as playmakers. They got Zach Moore, the senior, and Jake Bandanzian, who's a freshman, has really stepped up, earned a starting role for the Green Raiders. How do you guys look on to stopping them? Because Moore is very fast at wide receiver, and Bandanzian, as a freshman starting at running back, it's quite an accomplishment.
I think we got to hit him up a little bit. I think we need to take it to him hard every time Zach catches the ball. We need to give him a good shot, kind of take him out of his game, and also with the freshman, he's a freshman. We got to go after him a little bit and just take him out of their game, make him not get into any flow because it is Ramapo Wayne Hills, and if they get into a rhythm, who knows what could happen. You
mentioned that it's Ramapo Wayne Hills. Obviously, there's a rivalry there. Is this mystique, or is it just another game to you guys? Like, is there an aura about this game that particularly stands out?
It's Wayne Hills Ramapo. In the past, there's been a big rivalry with the 2 teams. Some very big games. It's just another game to us. We come out, we play this game same way, no matter who it is. But we can't let them get into rhythm. We have to, stop their offense. We need to put up some big points on offense too.
There's been games. You think of the names: Ramapo, Wayne Hills, Olson, Granatel, Pizzari, Ragone, your brother Joe Giampapa, Pete DeSico. The list goes on and on. Do you guys, in the back of your mind, think, "Wow, we're playing these Ramapo Green Raiders, who are the same? Like, there's been great games against these guys."
Yeah, you gotta take it year by year, game by game. But yeah, like I said, we've had some great games. Some big names come through, some pretty close ones. So we can't, our goal is to not make it close. We need to blow them out. We need to put up a lot of points on offense, and we can't let them score.
Yeah, definitely don't look past that. It's Ramapo, but appreciate it because this is your senior year, and this is probably the last time you're going to play on. Mike, best of luck versus them this week. We're going to take it back up to the field for Ramapo Wayne Hills next.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Patriot Stadium. And now, let's send it down to the sideline to the 4th member of our broadcast crew, Brian Dubow. Brian, take it away.
Come on. Thanks, guys. As far as offensive key players, I'm going to go with Mike Giampapa. He's a great quarterback and team leader. He has 248 yards, 6 touchdowns. He knows how to get the ball down the end zone. They're going to be running the play action, and he'll be hooking up with Jeremiah Kayo at receiver. Also, obviously, I'm going to go with Danny DeSico. He's a great running back. He breaks tackles. He has 110 yards this season with 6 touchdowns, which those numbers just speak for themselves. As far as defense, I'm going with Mike Roman. He has 16 tackles, 1 interception, and 1 sack. He's a great defensive leader. Ramapo has a very bad defense. They have 6 rushing touchdowns given up this season and 250 rushing yards in their last game. Injuries won't play a big part in this game. However, Wayne Hills does have a lot of key players out. Timmy Waller has a sprained ankle. I know Ryan Salerno, he's a sophomore on varsity, has a taped up thumb, but he will be playing. And Nico, obviously, is out for the game. He got hurt last week. That's all for now. Back up to you guys.
Brian, thank you very much. And now, let's take a look at last year's highlights against the Green Raiders of Ramapo in a wet, cold night here at Patriot Stadium.
To the first quarter, deep in the red zone. Ray plunges home, and it's a 7-point edge. It was a rainy, cold night, but Carlton Marson was one tough mutter. Oh, just take a look at the Navigator C-Money. And what a block by Eddie Rolfe. Great season for Steady Eddie on specials. Carlton does his thing. 77 yards, and the lead is 14. Carlton, he would continue to have a night for the Marsons to behold. Ogden seals it, and C-Money deals it. Touchdown, Wayne Hills. And any hopes Ramapo had were gone with a ride on the Husky. Przinski puts a hat on someone, and Scotty Schultz scores. This one is in the books. 4th in a row versus Ramapo, a 21-point victory.
Just another rout, 28-7 last year. Now we're going to go to last week, which, speaking of routes, last week was a rout. 49-0. Let's take a look from last week. Bergenfield here. Wayne Patriots Stadium. Gene Papa handed it off there to DeSico. He bounces, gets pushed like a ball down the sideline, easily into the end zone for a touchdown, gives the Patriots an early lead. Rubinetti throws a lofting pass on 4th down, deflected by great defense by the man Brian Ogden. DeSico went in motion, and G-Proof found Kyle Hannenberg wide open up the middle. He had all day. Unlike Vin Rubinetti, he did not have all day. He got pressured, he threw it up, nearly intercepted by DeSico, but it landed into another turnover on downs. Great defensive night on the Patriots. As you see Tim Waller splatter Vin Rubinetti to the ground, giving him nothing. Giampapa then tosses it to Marson, and he gets a great block down the field, pushes himself, cuts across the middle of the field, fumbles the ball actually, but they recover at about the 5-yard line for the Patriots to set up another offensive touchdown on this play. Giampapa right up the middle, easy 6 for number 20, Danny DeSico. The route is on. Rubinetti fumbles. It was just a tale of horrible D, horrible offense for the Bears. And speaking of great defense, the Patriots had some of that. Carlton picked it off. He picked Rubinetti's pocket, and he took it down the field, deep into the zone of the Bergenfield Bears. Kale on the option. I forgot. He could be a quarterback too. Runs down the field, picks up a heavy some yardage for the Patriots. Giampapa threw it there to Carlton Marson, made a couple moves or two down the field, and he out of bounds at about the 15-yard line. And it was all Patriots the whole night. That's all you could say. Giampapa, nice little toss to Marson into the end zone. Rubinetti was just all over the place. Michael Roman, number 44, taking it down the field, moving and bruising. The running backs for the Bergenfield Bears getting absolutely plummeted there by Carlton Marson, learning a thing or two from his grandfather, Denny Marson. Another great hit. It was Carlton's night, I guess you could say, and it was 49-0, all Wayne Hills.
Andrew, thanks so much. You did a fantastic job with the highlights. And now, let's send it up to public address announcer Ernie Mezzi for the lineups.
Salerno, number 55. At defensive tackle, number 69, Bowen Jones, number 69. At defensive end, number 59, Paul Drake, number 59. At linebacker, number 44, Mike Roman, number 44. At linebacker, number 25, Carlton Marson, number 25. At linebacker, number 45, Ryan DiDerno, number 45. At linebacker, number 20, Dan DeSico, number 20. At cornerback, number 5, Brian Ogden, number 5. At cornerback, number 23, Ronnie Drees, number 23. And at free safety, number 2, Jeremiah Kale, number 2. And ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the entire Wayne Hills Patriot squad. We ask that you now please rise as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem by the Wayne Hills Patriot Marching Band.
Welcome back to Patriot Stadium for the start of tonight's game. If you're just joining us, you're seeing the visiting Green Raiders of Ramapo coming to Patriot Stadium at 0-2 to face your Wayne Hills Patriots off to a fast 2-0 start. I'm David Suntup alongside Andrew Gayo and Aaron Ploshnick. So guys, Ramapo struggled mightily in their first game. They lost 41-13 to Old Japan. Jamie Rowe, 4 touchdowns, 236 yards on the ground. And then last week, basically the same story at Passack Valley in Hillsdale, New Jersey, as Ramapo lost 34-7. Matt Gray on the second play from scrimmage for the Indians, a 65-yard rushing touchdown. Why do the Raiders think things could possibly change tonight, and why would they think they could possibly stop Dan DeSico and Carlton Marson if they had so much trouble stopping the run in their first 2 games?
Well, they're going to have to be optimistic either way. They're not going to have the mindset coming into a game that they're going to be beat, because that would just be the wrong attitude. I think it's just the rivalries in their head, and this game's going to be a lot different than their first 2 games, and they're going to be much more motivated to play better against Wayne Hills than they did the other games.
I mean, if you looked at Ramapo's schedule for the first 3 games, they faced 3 of the toughest teams in the NBIL. They had Old Japan with their first game, then Pascack Valley, and then they come into Patriot Stadium. I mean, the mindset for the Ramapo Raiders has to be that they need to try and come away with a win today, even though it probably won't happen. But they have to try their hardest, and their mindset is go out here and beat Wayne Hills.
As the captains for your Wayne Hills football Patriots at midfield, from right to left, number 2, Jeremiah Kale, number 44, Mike Roman, number 20, Danny DeSico, number 1, Mike Giampapa. So Wayne Hills has dominated Ramapo the last 4 times out. Especially the last 2 times. Wayne Hills won in the playoffs here back on November 18th, 2005. 41-13. And then last year, Wayne Hills won a cold, wet game in the rain, 28-7. And Carlton Marson really stepped up his play in the second half. 2 big touchdowns to really put that game out of reach. What do you expect out of Carlton tonight?
Oh, I mean, he's motivated. You know the kid comes to play every single day, ready to work. But he knows last year, Snapple Player of the Week. You can't really get much better than that, especially since MSG did the game. I can definitely see him being much motivated to repeat the performance he did from last year.
You know, Carlton comes in as almost the back number 1A behind Dan DeSico, who's pretty much number 1 back. But he's Giampapa's target as in the air as well as in the ground. So he's a double threat, as of most of the Patriots' offensive players. he's going to get a lot of touches tonight, and he has been known in the past, as in last year, to make Ramapo pay. And I think he'll probably do just the same tonight.
The Patriots won the coin toss, and they will defer as they usually do. So that stingy Wayne Hills defense will be out on the field first. Andrew Weiss, he has a lot of talent, but he doesn't have the kind of weapons behind him that Adrian Pizzare had when he had Chris Hogan and John Kleiner. What does Andrew Weiss have to do tonight in order to avoid this tough Patriots defense?
He's going to be in a lot of trouble. That's basically it. I mean, the kid's going to be pressured the heck out of tonight. But in order to stay out of trouble, the line's going to have to step up. They have a very small line. If they want any chance of Weiss having some success, they're going to have to step up their game. They're going to have to block low and keep those big guys out of the box. Otherwise, Weiss is going to tear it up.
I mean, even if Weiss does have the ability to penetrate Wayne Hills' defensive line, which is not as big as it's been in the past, the linebackers for Wayne Hills are phenomenal. I mean, you have DeSico in there. You have Carlton, who's replacing the injured Tim Waller, and they're monsters on defense. It's going to be tough for Weiss to even get anything going.
As the band is getting loud here at Patriots Stadium, the cheerleaders are cheering for their Wayne Hills football Patriots as we are set to get underway here at Patriots Stadium. Ramapo, Wayne Hills, under the lights here at Patriots Stadium as Jeremiah Kale is ready to kick off for Wayne Hills.
Watch Dan DeSico on kick coverage. He's a monster.
A squib kick by Kale, picked up by Zach Moore, who returned an 83-yard kick for a touchdown, as Moore brings a couple of tacklers up to about the 28-yard line where Andrew Weiss will come out to the field for the Patriots. And now let's take a look at the defense for your Wayne Hills Patriots.
Kyle Hannenberg, number 10, defensive end.
Ronnie Salerno, number 55, D tackle.
Bowen Jones, number 69, D tackle.
Paul Drake, number 59, DN.
Dan DeSico, number 20, outside linebacker.
Ryan Derno, number 45, middle linebacker.
Carlton Marson, 25, DB.
Mike Roman, number 44, outside linebacker.
Brian Ogden, number 5, defensive back.
Ronnie Dries, number 23, D-back.
Jeremiah Kale, number 2, defensive back.
And welcome back to Patriots Stadium as the first play from scrimmage for the Green Raiders of Ramapo as Andrew Imperatore gets no gain on the play. Great defense by the left side of that defensive line of the Wayne Hills Patriots.
If Weiss can't get his passing game going, we should see a lot of Imperatore tonight, so look for him to get a lot of carries for Ramapo.
It's kind of like Grandpa's bread and butter, I guess you could say. Imperatore and Bondanzi, and the two of them really go at it for each other, for the team, to go out there, grind some yards, to take the pressure a little bit off Weiss's shoulders.
I think we should also give a little bit of credit to number 22, Bennett Rukema.
As they're going to call down the running back for the Green Raiders of Ramapo, number 25, Andrew Imperatore, as he slipped on the handoff from Weiss. So very interesting. Ramapo is already going in shotgun formation here. I guess they're doing that to give Andrew Weiss some more time because Coach Gibbs knows that Andrew Weiss will be rushed from all sides of the field tonight.
Oh, he's going to get pressured consistently, and if he doesn't protect his quarterback, he's not going to win the game. That's what happened last year. Jeff Hogan got little to no protection, and it just showed on the field.
3rd and 10 here for Ramapo from their own 25-yard line. 3 wide receivers set. Weiss back to pass, looks out to his left as the pass is complete to Zach Moore as Brian Ogden makes a first down saving tackle at about the 37-yard line as Ramapo have a 4th down here, a 4th and short. Let's see what Coach Gibbs decides to do.
And if they don't go for it, I'd be baffled because they're that close to the first down, probably the closest they'll ever be to a first down the whole game. They got to go for it. They threw it to the playmaker, Zach Moore, and that's all you really can do because Zach Moore, he's their best player, without a doubt.
As Andrew Weiss is out to punt for Ramapo, they could do a fake since Weiss could obviously throw the ball since he's their starting quarterback. The snap is good. A nice deep punt by Andrew Weiss. Bounces at about the 32-yard line as DeSico lets it roll. DeSico picks up about the 20. DeSico down the left sideline, makes the cut, breaks the tackle. He's down the left sideline. He's got a convoy of blockers to the 30, 25, 20, 15 as Andrew Weiss tries to wrestle DeSico down as DeSico is down at about that 2-yard line as Dan DeSico breaks his first huge return for the Patriots this year on a punt return.
That was just amazing, to say the least. I mean,
what a blocking job by the Patriots leading DeSico down the sideline. It looked like he'd be stopped near the 30-yard line, and his blockers just protected him magically.
Andrew Weiss had to pull a Ben Roethlisberger on that one and tackle Dan DeSico in order to prevent a touchdown. So Wayne Hills has first and goal on the 1, and it's basically automatic for the Patriots in this situation. Jumbo set for Wayne Hills. Giampapa hands it off to DeSico, and DeSico is into the end zone. Touchdown, Patriots.
He walked into the end zone.
DeSico, after a 70-yard plus punt return, sets up a 1-yard touchdown as the Patriots take a 6-0 lead with 9:31 here remaining in the first quarter.
If there's something called a statement, that was it, because he returned a punt for over 70 yards, and then he just rushes it into the end zone. He obviously meant something there. Dan DeSico takes Ramapo personally. He takes anything personally, and he let it show there.
Talk about a statement. He was untouched.
As the snap is high, but that doesn't affect Tim Divers, as Tim Divers' extra point is good. 17 for 17 on the season for Divers.
And, I mean, there's no really – you can't make much of a better start than that, because, quite frankly, when you go down the field, you don't even go down the field, actually. You just take the punts, then you just rush it into the end zone. Great defense. I'm lost for words. It's Wayne Hills football, folks.
Gotta love it.
So, guys, Ramapo had 4th and 1 at about the 37-yard line. They decide to punt. If you're Coach Drew Gibbs, are you regretting that decision right now?
No, I mean, you heard me before the punt. I think you both heard me. I said you gotta get the first down. You're that close. You're punting the ball away to possibly the most dangerous player in the NBIL. I don't know what was going through Drew Gibbs' mind. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be a psychic.
They're really going to regret that decision. That, like you said before, that's probably the closest they'll ever be to a first down in this game. And to let Wayne Hills get a lead is not great.
High, short kick by Kale, fielded at about the 17-yard line as a host of Patriots take down the ball carrier. I think it was Jack Slingland, the junior wideout. But, guys, getting back to that decision by Coach Gibbs. Coach Gibbs, between the 40-yard lines, he loves to run his trick plays. And Andrew, when we were at Ramapo Stadium 2 weeks ago when they played Old Japan, they actually ran a trick play. They tried a wide-out pass with Zach Moore, and Zach Moore got picked off. So maybe with 4th and 1, they have nothing to lose. They've been blown out in both games this year. Why don't they try something new?
I don't know. I mean, I guess he didn't want to make a mistake and give him good field position. I don't know.
As Weiss pitches it out to Moore, as Moore carries a couple of tacklers up to about the 29-yard line. So it's in a lot of shotgun here from the Ramapo Raiders as Coach Gibbs really wants to give Weiss more time to throw the ball or possibly get away from some Patriots.
Well, oh, sorry, Aaron. You can continue.
I apologize. Well, the reason I think they're running shotgun often, as you saw in that last play, is it gives them the ability to run the option a little bit more. I mean, Weiss just gave a nice toss over to Zach Moore, and he just picked up a decent number of yards.
2nd and 5 for Ramapo from their own 28-yard line. 3 wide receivers set here for Ramapo. As number 34, the freshman running back Jack Bandazian is taken down in the backfield for a loss, as there's going to be a penalty on the play. I believe it will be a false start on Ramapo. So, guys, things could not be going worse here for the Ramapo Raiders. You get so close to a first down, you punt the ball to one of the most dangerous offensive forces in the North Bergen Interscholastic League. Wayne Hills has one offensive play and they get a touchdown, and now you're committing penalties against Wayne Hills.
For lack of words, it's like they ran into a brick wall. They don't know what to do, and they're baffled. They don't know what to do. They're confused. Drew Gibbs has to find something else, or we could see 42-0 after the first quarter.
That penalty was declined there if no one saw that. Probably a smart decision by Olsen. Give Ramapo the least amount of downs as possible.
So, guys, these teams are coming into this game at totally opposite ends of the spectrum. Since that comeback win by the Patriots on October 28, 2005, Ramapo is 6-9, and Wayne Hills is 18-0. So, big 3rd and 8 here for Ramapo. Shotgun formation, 3 wide receivers set. Weiss back to pass, looks to the left side of the field, scrambles out to his right, as Weiss has nowhere to go with the ball, throws it away in the vicinity of Jeremiah Kale. Dangerous pass there by Weiss, as that pass could be picked off by Kale. So another 4th down here for the Raiders. Let's see if Weiss punched the ball out of bounds.
Going back to that Ramapo game you were talking about in October of 2005, that was a classic game at Ramapo Stadium, 20-27 Patriots. That game went down to the wire. The lead changed hands many times in that game, and that's one that'll probably go in the history books as one of the best Ramapo Wayne Hills games ever. A lot of stars in that game.
High snap as Weiss gets off a kick as it's going to go out of bounds at about the 47-yard line. So Drew Gibbs learned from his mistake the first time out, and now the offense for the Patriots will come onto the field for the second time tonight. So Mike Giampapa gets a chance to lead his Patriots onto the field. And guys, Giampapa has just been absolutely fantastic this season.
Oh, he's been phenomenal. He's really changed his style of play and has worked extremely hard to get to the point where he is. He's a totally different player. I mean, he had a great junior year before he got hurt, but now he's transformed himself into a complete player.
As Mike Giampapa leads his troops to the line, Kale split right, Ogden split left. As Roman and DeSico are in the backfield. So first and 10 for the Patriots from their own 40-yard line. As Giampapa hands off to DeSico. DeSico breaks the tackle, stiff arms, tries to make another tackle as he's taken down by Chris Larson. And now let's take a look at the offensive starters for your Wayne Hills Patriots.
Mike Giampapa, number 1, quarterback.
Carlton Marson, 25, running back.
Dan DeSico, 20, running back.
Brian Ogden, number 5, wide receiver.
Jeremiah Kale, number 2, wide receiver.
Kyle Hannenberg, number 10, tight end.
Pat Mitchell, 64, guard.
Christian Avdisian, number 70, guard.
Zach Doyes, number 79, center.
Bowen Jones, 69, guard.
Joe Pogorelic, number 73, offensive tackle.
So they call the legal motion on the Wayne Hills Patriots, a 5-yard penalty. So it's first and 15 for the Patriots from the Green Raiders' 45-yard line. So Christian Avdisian making his first career varsity start at guard in place of Nico Stevens, who is out indefinitely with a shoulder injury. And also Ronnie Dries on the defensive side of the ball making his first career start at cornerback. Giampapa fakes the toss as the pass is incomplete, short of Brian Ogden. So it'll be second and 15 for the Patriots from the 45-yard line of Ramapo.
This year, I can count on my one hand the amount of passes that have not been completed for Giampapa. Back to what we were talking about before. His efficiency has been unbelievable, untested. He's gone out there game after game, made smart plays, has not thrown an interception yet, knock on wood, but he's just been unbelievable, and he's phenomenal.
Yeah, Giampapa's gone for 248 yards this year and 6 touchdowns, and he just looks phenomenal out there, 13 for 18.
So second and 15 for the Patriots, 3 wide receivers set. DeSico in motion, Giampapa, handoff up the middle to Marson as Marson gets the ball up to about the 38-yard line. So it'll be a little bit of a more manageable third down play here. It'll be 3rd and 8 for the Patriots. Actually about 3rd and 9 from about Ramapo's 39-yard line.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're fine. I'd be interested to see in this game Tim Divers kick a couple field goals, especially if they get in the range, maybe inside the 20-yard line, because the man has not missed an extra point yet. I want to see how he is on the field goal attempts.
Yeah, he's yet to be tested yet. Let's see if the Patriots will actually stall.
So it's 3rd and 9 for the Patriots from the Green Raiders' 39-yard line. Giampapa back to pass, getting big pressure as the pass is incomplete, intended for Dan DeSico, as number 22, Bennett Rukama, came storming into the backfield as he pressured Giampapa. So the Patriots have an interesting decision here, but it looks like they're going to punt the ball as Dan DeSico has come out onto the field. But guys, let's say Kyle Hannenberg has a bad snap. I believe he is the long snapper. This could be a touchdown here for the Patriots because the last couple times that has happened, we know what the end result has been. But the snap is good. A nice pump by DeSico as Moore waits for a fair catch. And it's touchdown by the Patriots. Great special teams work as Carlton Marson and Brian Ogden get to the ball. I think Zach Moore made a poor decision there. He should have caught the ball. He already called for a fair catch, and now Zach Moore just cost his team 5 yards.
Oh, absolutely, but you never know because you could assume that the ball's going to go in the end zone because that's all it has to do in high school football. But you never know. I mean, it's a questionable call, and he made the wrong call.
So now Ramapo backed up inside their own 10-yard line. They have really struggled on offense so far in this game. This is not where they want to be. As Andrew Weiss leads his troops to the line of scrimmage. Ramapo has only scored 21 points this season, which is very different for this kind of Ramapo team, which is used to put up a lot of points. As Weiss goes deep down the field, as the pass is overthrown, intended for Zach Moore, as Ronnie Drees was there on the coverage.
Yeah, as you were saying, Ramapo only scoring 21 points this year. Very un-Ramapo-like, because normally they have very potent offenses, as they've had in the past. I mean, they had Chris Sims in '97, and ever since then they've had pretty good offenses until as recently as 2005, 2006.
No, not very Ramapo-esque at all, Aaron. I mean, they go out there, and you remember the past Raiders, they used to put points on the board like it was waking up in the morning. I mean, it was that easy for them. Now it's a struggle.
2nd and 10 for Ramapo from their own 5-yard line. 3 wide receivers set split left. Weiss fakes the pass, hands it off. I'm not sure who got the handoff. It was either Bandazian or number 25, Andrew Imperatore.
It was Imperatore.
So a gain of about 5 on the play, so it'll be 3rd and 5 for Ramapo from their 10-yard line.
So now 3rd and 10. I mean, I'd assume the Raiders, it seems like Weiss has a good arm. I test it. No risk.
Shotgun set here, definitely.
Oh, definitely shotgun. You don't want to get put into an even more bad spot here inside your own 10-yard line.
Oh, he's up to the line.
As 3 wide receivers set here for Ramapo. Weiss not in shotgun formation. Weiss back to pass as he gets pressured by Carlton Marson. As Carlton Marson hits Weiss as he releases the ball. And Ramapo will be forced to punt deep in their own territory once again. So guys, why have the Patriots been able to get so much pressure on Weiss so far in the early going?
Well, I mean, you just look at it, and it's a size differential. It's that simple. If the guys were bigger on Ramapo, it'd be a totally different story. But when you have guys registering at 200 pounds against guys that weigh in the 250s, it's going to be a battle and a half.
They're just overpowering them.
As a line drive punt handled by Marson at the 36-yard line. Marson bounces out to the right side of the field. Gets a great block downfield. Marson to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Patriots. Carlton Marson on a 36-yard punt return for a touchdown as the Patriots take a 13-0 lead.
He makes it look too easy out there, C-Money. He goes out there, gets the punt, and it just runs down the field into the end zone. He makes it look like it's easier than said than done.
Christian Avedisian made a fantastic block, really paving the way for Carlton Marson. Avedisian making his first career start for the Patriots, and Wally Johnson has to like that kind of blocking out of Avedisian. As Divers on for the extra point. Good snap, and the kick splits the uprights. A beautiful kick, as Tim Divers is 18 for 18 on extra point attempts this season.
Mr. Automatic, I guess you could say.
And now let's take a look at that punt return by Carlton Marson. I don't know why Coach Gibbs chose to punt the ball in bounds. He should have learned from his prior mistake to DeSico. A line drive punt, hailed by Marson at the 36-yard line. Does a great job bouncing out. Danny DeSico making a fantastic block. And there's the block by Avedisian as Marson uses a block from Kyle Hamburg to get into the end zone as he puts the finishing touches on for the Patriots' second touchdown of the game. And now let's send down to Brian Dubow, who has a special report for us. Brian, take it away.
Thanks, guys. Earlier today in my Italian class, sat in front of me Zach Doyas and Ryan Salerno, a sophomore, who stars on varsity for Wayne Hills football. I saw on their desk in front of me a piece of paper that was filled with the words, "We will beat Ramapo." I questioned Ryan about this, and he continued to tell me that it's been a tradition for as long as he could remember that any seniors or varsity players who wanted to write this for inspiration could. They would simply take a piece of paper and write, "We will beat Ramapo," over and over until there was no white left on the paper. I asked them why they did this and what they did with the paper afterwards, and he told me that they used it for inspiration, and hung it up in the locker room to get pumped for the game. I hold in my hand a copy of this "We will beat Ramapo" paper, and I have heard that it helps them get quite pumped up in the locker room. That's all. Back to you.
A great report there by our sideline reporter, Brian Dubow. And I was with Brian in Italian tonight. I am in Italian, too, because I took Latin my first 2 years of high school. And we were playing bingo, having a good time at Rico's class like we usually do. And I saw a paper on Zach Doyes' desk. He said, "We'll be Ramapo." Like, Zach, what's that for? Ryan, what's that for? So they explained it to me, and Zach Doyes was very nice. He went with me to get a copy of his paper. So I'd like to thank Zach and Ryan for their help in contributing to this report. As Weiss in shotgun formation, hand off to Imperatore, as Imperatore scampers ahead for about 3 yards. So it will be 2nd and 7 for Ramapo from their own 40-yard line.
And very unusual on special teams there. Zach Moore brought it to the 37-yard line, I believe. And Wally World cannot be happy, Dave.
Well, Zach Moore is a stud for this Green Raiders team, special teams, offense, defense. And Moore was out the whole year last year, so Jeff Hogan really missed Moore's presence.
Well, he's a real fire starter. That's what they have to understand. Ramapo's special teams is anchored by Zach Moore, and when he has good special teams plays, the team looks good.
As Weiss fakes the pass out to the outside as Imperatore gets up for a gain of about 2 to 3 yards.
Probably would have been better off throwing to Moore there because got next to nothing up the middle, and Moore probably could have shaked a couple of yards.
And now let's take a look at tonight's trivia question, which is brought to you by Wayne Hills High School. Study hard and get good grades. The question is, Mike Giampapa start off the season with back-to-back 3-touchdown games. Who holds the Patriots record for the most TD passes in a game, and how many touchdowns did that player throw for? Answer coming up shortly. 3rd and 3 for Ramapo. Weiss in shotgun formation has a chance of defense of coming down. Imperatore scampers ahead as he uses his leg strength to get ahead for the first down as the Green Raiders move the chains.
Very rare display there by the Ramapo Green Raiders. They looked like they had next to nothing to offense today, and all of a sudden, Moore had a big return, and they get the first down. So who knows? Maybe the second touchdown motivated him. I doubt it, though.
That looks like the first chink in the armor we've seen from the Patriots all day. And if there's one place where there's a chink in the armor, it's that defensive line.
In the first 2 weeks, teams had a lot of trouble running the ball through the interior of that defensive line for the Patriots. So Bowen Jones and Ryan Salerno really need to tighten up out there. The linebackers really need to come up and get into the box a little bit quicker. As Weiss back to pass, as he gets sacked in the backfield by number 25, Carlton Marson. Marson starting at linebacker in place of Tim Waller this week, who's out with an ankle injury, gets his first sack of the game and his first sack of the season, I believe, as now it's a 2nd and long play for Andrew Weiss and the Ramapo Raiders.
In the early going, he looks really well adjusted to his position, like he's been playing it all his life. I mean, he blitzes a lot on the as a DB, but he looks just natural as a linebacker.
Well, guys, if you want to hear Marson's success of defense, stick around at halftime as I sat down with Carlton in the locker room report. Weiss shotgun formation, hand off Imperatore. Imperatore bursts through the middle as he gets up across midfield to about the 48 yards. So Ramapo is having a lot of success here in the early going, running the ball up the middle.
No, Imperatore just bursted up the middle, and it was unbelievable, untested, and it was just horrible. Let's take a replay of Imperatore running up the middle. As you're going to see here, Patriots line up with all the linebackers.
Actually, it's a sack, Andrew.
Oh, we're going to see the sack. We have miscommunication here. Carlton went right up the middle, and he took him out.
As Imperatore gets the handoff as he scampers ahead for about a yard or two.
They're sticking with the run here. It looks like looks like a better option for Ramapo.
Guys, we all know Drew Gibbs loves the trick play, middle of the field. Are you surprised he didn't try something like maybe a flea flicker or something of that magnitude?
I mean, I don't think he has the weapons to do that. I don't think he's. I mean, Drew Gibbs now. He's a successful coach. He's been around for a while. One of the most successful coaches in New Jersey, but I don't know. I don't think he has the arsenal this year.
As a nice high punt by Andrew Weiss goes out of bounds at about the 26-yard line.
Good hands by gym teacher Brad Smith, showing off his athletic ability on the sideline.
He's a multi-talented man. Also my tennis teacher period too, Jim.
4-year varsity player of soccer at Wayne Hills High School back in the 90s.
So Coach Gibbs finally got the memo. Do not punt to Dan DeSico or Carlton Marson, as it definitely pays off for Apple here, as Wayne Hills is buried inside their own 30-yard line. But it doesn't matter because Wayne Hills, with the kind of offensive weapons that they have, they could really score from anywhere on the field.
the snack bar this evening.
So 1st and 10 for Wayne Hills from their own 27-yard line. He'll to Marson as Marson tries to spin away from a tackler as he's taken down at about the 33-yard line. A gain of about 6 for Marson.
And he's the pinball wizard, as Jimmy Cavallo once proclaimed. The kid just keeps running, bouncing off people, and he doesn't go down very easily.
On the tackle for the Green Raiders.
So this is the first time Marson is playing against Ramapo since he won the Snappo Player of the Week award last year in that 28-7 victory. So Marson is very eager to show his success against Ramapo again this season. So 2nd and 5 for Wayne Hills from their own 33-yard line. As Volpe is split left, Kale split right. As Giampapa fakes the handoff as he tosses it outside to DeSico. As DeSico is taken down at about the 42-yard line as he gets enough for the first down.
Yeah, and Wayne Hills gives Ramapo a little taste of their own medicine. They're running their own version of the option play. Giampapa, nice little pitch to DeSico, and he got some good blocking. Got all the way down to the 43-yard line.
So, guys,
41.
Ramapo linebacker, number 9, Luke Mencken, who's also a hockey player for the Green Raiders. Last year in about January, he got a very harmful disease called meningitis. He was in the hospital for a lot of days. He had a 106 fever. The doctors gave him a 10% chance of recovery. Mencken beat all the odds, showed a lot of toughness, and now he's back on the field for Ramapo this fall after sitting out of school, or not being in school, since January. It's really a great story for these Green Raiders Ramapo. As the pitch to Marson, as Marson loses about a yard on the play, so it'll be 2nd and 11 for Wayne Hills from their own 40-yard line.
Back to your story about Mencken. The kid has the heart of a lion, maybe two. The kid went out there, battled meningitis, and when you get diagnosed with that serious of an illness, your self-esteem's got to be in the dirt. But to battle back from that, the kid's got heart.
Yeah, really a great story for Ramapo, a team that's really been struggling to find good stories ever since that terrible collapse against Wayne Hills back in the 2005 season. But Mencken was so weak at times. He couldn't even stand up, couldn't walk around. He was throwing up a lot. Couldn't even go to school, so we had a lot of schoolwork to catch up on. But you can't just give credit to Mencken athletically for coming back physically. You have to give credit for him coming back in the classroom for what he really did. As, hey, I'm on camera, so is Andrew and Eric. Here are the broadcasters for your Wayne Hills Patriots.
The end of the first quarter.
Courtesy of, I believe, Lee Markowitz, as the first quarter has just come to an end here at Patriot Stadium, as the Wayne Hills Patriots are defeating their arch enemy Green Raiders of Ramapo 14-0. Guys, what are your thoughts on the first quarter of play?
Well, it was a tale of one side. The Wayne Hills Patriots, complete domination. Up 14-0, indication of the amount of time of possession the Ramapo Green Raiders have had for themselves. Basically melting down clock, trying to find the right play, but they have yet to find the answer.
And we'll be right back after a short break.
And we are back at Patriot Stadium. Here you go, Dave.
So 2nd and 10 for the Patriots as they switch sides of the field from their 41-yard line. Shotgun formation, Giampapa, the option play as he tosses the outside to DeSico. DeSico down the sideline as he gets tackled at about the 33-yard line. A touchdown saving play there by John Schroer.
Possible horse collar tackle there. Not really the most clean play. And Danny just, he spun off him and he let him know that you can't stop me.
Just my quick thoughts on the first half. Wally Johnson must be smiling on the sidelines because the special team has done an unbelievable job for Wayne Hills. I think Ramapo will probably learn in the second quarter and not punt to people like Danny DeSico and Carlton Marson because they're just fire starters.
What I don't get is Drew Gibbs knows how good this Patriots team is at returning punts from all his years coaching Ramapo. Why would you even think of ever punting to DeSico or Marson, especially after DeSico had a punt return of over 60 yards? It just made no sense to me. 1st and 10 for the Patriots from about their own 30, from the Ramapo 34-yard line. As I handle this to Marson. Marson down the field as Marson gets across the 10-yard line. A 24-yard run by Carlton Marson as Marson shows off his speed there. So 1st and goal for the Patriots.
You know, this is same story, different drive. Giampapa handoff to DeSico, Giampapa handoff to Marson, just back and forth, back and forth. Ramapo's defense has no answer for the run, so they're just going to keep going to it. And it's a smart call by Chris Olsen.
As you see the Wayne Hills Marching Band always playing great music here and supporting
Look
this
at
Wayne Hills
John
football
Crespo move. The kid can move, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the color guard go. Oh my goodness, I am appalled.
First and goal from the Ramapo 9 for Wayne Hills as Kale's in motion. I formation for the Patriots. Hand off to Seco as the Seco is tackled by a host of Raiders as the Seco gets close to the 5-yard line. Second and goal for Wayne Hills.
And I mean, it's too dangerous right there. I mean, the Patriots, they're inside the red zone. I think it has to be 100%. Since I've been announcing, I think the only time I've seen them fail was their last loss on the last play of the game, if you remember, Dave.
Oh, I remember that play, unfortunately, but Wayne Hills has not lost since. So 2nd and 6. As the Seagull gets the handoff, bursts his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Patriots. A 6-yard touchdown run for Danny DeSico as the Patriots take a 20-0 lead.
And it's all WHHS, folks. I mean, Ramapo has no answer. They can't stop the run. They're doing okay against the pass, but they really, momentum's on the Patriots side.
You know, I think Danny DeSico probably has a magnet on him somewhere that's attracted to the touchdown because all he does is score touchdowns. He's just a playmaker, and they give him the ball near the end zone because he finds it no matter what.
As the snap is good, as Tim Divers connects on his 19th extra point of the season, as a diving attempt by number 7 Chris Larson comes to no avail. As let's look at a replay at that 6-yard touchdown run by Danny DeSico. Jumbo set for the Patriots as DeSico dispersed right up the middle. Great blocking there by the guards and centers for your Wayne Hills Patriots. Christian Abadizian, Bowen Jones, and Zach Doyers paving the way for DeSico as the Patriots take a 21-0 lead with 10 minutes and 5 seconds here left in the second quarter.
I mean, Dave, they're going to have to do something to switch it up because if nothing's working, why would you continue to stick to it, Dave? Can you explain that to me?
I really have no idea, but Ramapo is just so bad at stopping the run, and especially with their tackling. Their tackling is atrocious. We've seen DeSico and Marson break numerous tackles this game so far, and Jamie Rowe had a field day breaking tackles at Ramapo Stadium back on opening night.
You know, the Patriots look good, but I think we just have to give kudos as we've just seen that on the screen. The Patriots cheerleaders, they do a heck of a job during the game. And they keep the crowd very into it, even with the score being run up by the Patriots.
So Kale to kick off for the 4th time this game as the kick is handled by Zach Moore about the 15-yard line. Moore tries to stiff arm his way as he gets to about the 35-yard line. Forced out of bounds by Danny DeSico. They're going to mark Moore out of bounds at about the 36. So Andrew Weiss will lead his team back onto the field for the 4th time tonight.
The real question is, why don't they utilize more often? No pun intended. I mean, when Hogan was here, Chris Hogan, they used him, I think, 95% of the plays,
especially on
Dave.
those bubble screens.
I mean, he was a weapon. He was dangerous. Why don't they use that with Chris Moore? I mean,
Zach Moore.
Zach Moore. I'm losing my mind because it blows my mind why they don't use him as much.
You know, I think it's probably because he's not as good of a target.
As Weiss hands off the board to Imperatori up the middle for a gain of about 2 yards.
You know, he's good, but he is no Chris Hogan. Chris Hogan, a phenomenal football player as well as a cross player. And he's just an exceptional athlete. So, I mean, when you lose someone like Chris Hogan, there's really no replacement for him until someone else of phenomenal athletic talent comes along.
It's also really the first time that Zach Moore is getting extensive playing time. Remember, he missed all of last season with an injury. Also missing in action for the Green Raiders of Ramapo, their sophomore running back, number 4, Jesse Devonshuk, who moved from Connecticut this past year. He was supposed to play a big role in the running game. He will be back in about a week or two as the pass is complete to Zach Moore, as Moore breaks the tackle from Marson, but Moore only gets about a yard or 2 extra, so it'll be 3rd and long here for Ramapo.
No, I mean, he's your complete player, Zach Moore. You got to utilize him. If he's the most fire you got, you utilize him, he's going to be a dangerous weapon, but I don't know. I'm not the coach. If I were the coach, he'd be my main guy.
So it's 3rd and 7 for Ramapo from the 39-yard line. As Weiss is in shotgun formation, Moore and Larson split right. 3 wide receivers set.
Watch for the draw play here.
As the Patriots show blitz. Weiss back to pass, steps up in the pocket, goes deep down the field as the pass is incomplete, intended for number 16, John Schroer.
He's not showing much accuracy as a passer right now. I mean, I've never seen Andrew Weiss play before, but my first impression of him is that he needs to learn how to be more accurate a passer.
Well, there's no doubt, guys, he's feeling the pressure from this Wayne Hills defense because he's seeing too much maroon right now.
Also, he's only a junior, so he has time to learn before next year.
As the punt by Weiss is very high, short kick as it goes out of bounds, as they rule it out of bounds at about the 41-yard line. So Andrew Weiss's freshman year on this exact field, he came into Patriot Stadium. The freshman football team for Wayne Hills back in 2005 was undefeated at 7-0. Andrew Weiss came in here and led Ramapo to a 15-14 game. 15-14 win, excuse me.
However, what people do not know is the best player on the freshman team at the time, Brian Ogden, broke his ankle in that game.
Was it his ankle or his arm? That was Jeremiah was his arm, I think.
Yeah, Brian Ogden injured his ankle and missed all the 2005 basketball season because of it.
So first attempt for the Patriots from the 43-yard line. Hand off to Marson up the left side of the field as Marson gets ahead to about the 46-yard line. And now let's send it out to Brian Dubow, who has some news for us. Brian, take it away.
Thanks, guys. As you could tell, Ramapo is obviously struggling on offense. They like to go with a one-set running back with their transfer from Connecticut, Devon Shuck, who is just having trouble going against Wayne Hills Patriots' defensive line. They obviously can't get anything going, no momentum, as you could tell. It's 21-0, and there's no hope for Ramapo at this point. That's all for now. Back to you.
Brian, thank you very much. Guys, Brian Dubow is doing a great job following in Matthew Dubow's footsteps. Big Gian Papa back to pass, get some pressure as the pass, I believe, is incomplete to DeSico as Gian Papa was pressured by number 45 for Ramapo, Steve Harvey, who could be a Division I AA prospect for Ramapo.
You know, it was a good thing DeSico dropped that ball because if he would have caught it, he probably would have lost yardage.
Well, he definitely would have lost yards because once your knee is touching the grass in high school football, you're automatically down. So it's 3rd and 7 for the Patriots from their own 46-yard line as Volpe enters the game for Marson. So, guys, what can we expect from Wayne Hills on this play?
Oh, I believe definitely a pass. It has to be either a screen or some sort of pass to Aaron.
I have some information from Coach Marson from the Jets. He says bubble screen will probably be run here.
Well, we're all wrong here. Gian Papa back to pass. Scrambles out to his right as he has to throw the ball away as Eric Askeles came storming into the backfield. No intentional grounding call since Gian Papa was outside the pocket.
I apologize, Dave, for interrupting you. As Mr. Marson said, that did look like a screen there, even though the screen didn't develop very well. But almost looked like grounding. But
well, he was outside the pocket, so it was legal.
I was about to say that. Thank you, Dave.
So DeSico into the game to punt for the second time tonight. 4th and 7 for the Patriots from their own 46-yard line. As Moore and Larson back deep to receive the kick. As Larson has to drop back to about the 27-yard line to receive the kick. As Larson tries to make a move. As Brian Ogden makes sensational play on special teams. Wally World is just loving his special teams play tonight, guys.
Oh, obviously. I mean, Wally World works his men. They all know what to do, and they're battling. I mean, that's all it comes down to it. Wally World's a great coach, and Brian Ogden, he made a heck of a play there.
And as good of a tackle as that was by Ogden, what a great punt by Dan DeSico as well. He kicked that ball probably about 40 yards.
When you think of Dan DeSico, you think touchdowns on offense, both out of the backfield and at the wide receiver position. He could even throw the ball as he threw for a touchdown last year against Old Japan. Think sacks, interceptions on defense. One thing that really goes unnoticed, his punting. He could really punt, and if it ever came necessary for the Patriots where they need to pin a team inside the 10-yard line, DeSico could definitely do it. As Imperatore spins away from a defender as he gets across the first down marker up to about the 27-yard line as Imperatore moves the chains for the second time tonight.
He just got drilled there by Mike Roman, but even a better run by Imperatore, and that's not good because they don't want that big chunk of yardage to keep on occurring.
Speaking of Mike Roman, he really stepped up his game last week against the Bergenfield Bears. 12 tackles and interception. He has 16 tackles, a sack, and a pick on the season. So 1st and 10 for Ramapo from their own 28-yard line as a handoff is to Imperatori again. So Imperatori getting a heavy workload here in the first half. So it'll be about 2nd and 7 for Ramapo.
Just a quick mention, number 72, Matthew Rubin, just entered the game on that last play. If there's anybody in practice who hustles as hard, it's Matt Rubin. He's been known to be one of the conditioning leaders on the team. He always finishes his laps first. He's a workhorse, and it's good to see him get some action as a junior.
2nd and 8 for Ramapo from their own 28-yard line. Weiss in shotgun formation like he has been for most of the night. Patriots showing blitz. Handoff to Imperatori as Imperatori beats the blitz, gets around the blocker across the 40 as Imperatori is out of bounds just shy of midfield.
And they're just having trouble with Imperatori. The kid's quick and he can move up the middle. He is quick, he's agile, and he's just moving around the Patriots defenders. They have no answer right now.
As soon as I go to mention Matt Rubin, they go to his side of the line, and unfortunately his man blocked him very well and he got beat there.
So Imperatori has been running up the middle a lot in this game. That's why Ramapo brought the big blitz. As you see Coach Gibbs trying to get some things out of his bag of tricks. They're at midfield. Maybe we could see the trick play here. But Imperatori, for the first time, really bats to the outside and showed off his speed. Weiss back to pass. The pass is complete to Zach Moore, as Zach Moore gets taken down to the grass by Ronnie Dries.
What a tackle by Ronnie Dries. He just put the smack down on Moore right there.
His first varsity start, Ronnie Dries. So he's stepping up big, good tackle there on Zach Moore, on him like white on rice.
He's a small kid with a big heart and a big hit.
So back to the Raiders' rushing attack. They really have 4 key running backs who get the ball. You got Rumiko, who's the shiftiest of them. Imperatori brings the most speed. Devin Chuck is the strongest. And now you got the freshman running back for Ramapo, Jack Bandazian. As a handoff is to Imperatori, as he does not break the tackle by Ronnie Dries. So Ronnie Dries has just made 2 big tackles in a row. So it'll be 3rd and short here for Ramapo as they are in Wayne Hills territory at about the 45-yard line.
Dries is as hard-working as anyone you can ask for, and he just goes out there consistently day after day, works hard, and he has finally earned a spot as a starting cornerback.
So 5 minutes and 11 seconds here left in the first half as Wayne Hills is defeating the Green Raiders of Ramapo 21-0. So Imperatori is having a great game tonight, and he's really doing it behind a very inexperienced Ramapo offensive line. Steve Barna, the senior right tackle, is the only returning starter on that line, as he's a 2-way starter for Ramapo. And a lot of this line is fresh because a lot of these offensive linemen do not play on both sides of the ball, so Coach Drew Gibbs is trying to keep everyone fresh.
Actually, I have some information here that Barna is actually the only returning starter on both sides of the ball. And last year was one of the first losing seasons under head coach Drew Gibbs, and it was a group filled with seniors.
As Ramapo is inches short of the first down. So we 3rd and inches here for Ramapo. I would assume that the ball would stay with Imperatori since he has had great success in this game so far. So a big 3rd down play here for Ramapo as the drums start beating here at Patriots Stadium. 3rd and inches from about the 45-yard line. Patriots showing heavy blitz as Weiss keeps it, as I believe he has enough for the first down.
I think he got it.
Move the pile there, and they really just pushed I'm shocked. Really, this offensive line is proving me wrong. As you see the cheerleaders, ladies and gentlemen, they're just dedication written all over them. Not really, but when you think about them, they're dedicated. They have the heart of Lions.
Oh, they're definitely dedicated. Decorating the stands, hours for the game, out there on the track, working on their routine. They just do a fantastic job supporting these football players.
And they have a wonderful halftime show, too, also.
1st and 10 for Ramapo from the Hills 44-yard line. Weiss hands it off to Imperatori, as Imperatori gets up to about the 40-yard line. So it'll be 2nd and 6 for Ramapo.
Going back to to what I was saying about the Green Raiders, yeah, they're coming off their first losing season with Coach Drew Gibbs. It's his 7th season on the staff, and that was a group filled with seniors. So they're banking on the development of many of their players to get themselves back into the playoffs. But with this unkind September schedule, it doesn't look to be very possible this year, but maybe next year.
Well, Aaron, speaking of their schedule, I'll get back to you after this play. 2nd and 6 for Ramapo from the Hills 41-yard line. Weiss hands off to Imperatore as Imperatore muscles his way to about the 38-yard line. As we all know, Ramapo had a very tough schedule to start the year. Ultapan, who's probably the second best team in the North Bergen Interscholastic League, they lost 41-13 to the Golden Knights at Ramapo Stadium. Then they were on the road to Hillsdale, New Jersey, lost to Passack Valley 34-7. After this week, they have a bye. Then they face Fairlawn. They play at Ramsey, at Bergenfield, Demarest, and Northern Highlands at home to wrap up their season before the state cutoff. So really, we could see 4-1 here, but I think they have to go 5-0 and hope that some of the teams that they beat win some games in order to get enough power plays. But one team that could really give them some trouble, guys, is Bergenfield. Wouldn't you say, Andrew?
Oh, definitely. Bergenfield came out last week on all cylinders. In reality against Wayne Hills, their offense looked great on the first series and then just collapsed right after that. But I think they have a lot of heart and they have a lot of potential due to the Bears of Bergenfield, especially in Vin Rubinetti.
As Coach Olson and Coach Johnson talking to their team, as Coach Olson calls the timeout. And next week is a bye week for Ramapo. They usually have the bye week the last week in September or the first week in October. And speaking of the bye week, it's a great event for the seniors of Ramapo High School because that's one of their cut days. And now, let's get back to the trivia question, which is brought to you by Wayne Hills High School. Study hard and get good grades. Mike G. Papa start off the season with back-to-back three touchdown passes in back-to-back games. Who holds the Wayne Hills record and how many did that player throw for? And here's the answer. Well, actually, here is the answer. And the answer is Chris Olson, as he threw for 4 touchdown passes on 3 occasions against Demarest in 1999.
Sophomore
against
year.
Ultapan, the year 2000.
Junior
against Indian
year.
Hills, his senior year, back in 2001. And there is Chris Olson, now an assistant coach for this Wayne Hills Patriots
The
team.
quarterback's coach.
Well, Andrew, now that he's with Wayne Hills, he was a Division I player at the University of Virginia for the Cavaliers. He actually started a few games for him last year. How much of an influence do you think he's had on Gian Papa?
A huge one.
As Weiss is sacked in the backfield by number 20, Danny DeSico.
With help from number 10, Kyle Hannenberg. He came in there at the end.
As DeSico, Hannenberg, and Mike Roman bursted into the backfield as they used the turbo on their Madden controller. And now it's 4th down for Ramapo.
I still don't understand why they're punting, Dave. Have they learned?
Maybe trick play could be coming here.
I mean, you're down 21-0. Less than 3 minutes to go here in the first half. Why don't you go for it, especially since you're in Wayne Hills territory? As DeSico is back deep to receive the kick. As Weiss is punting for the 6th time this game already.
Matt Rubin in motion.
So 2:27 here left in the first half. High snap as Weiss kicks a high punt. Bounces as DeSico fields it at about the 4-yard line. As DeSico's going to try to return it. DeSico cuts to the right, gets through a couple of tacklers as DeSico gets up to about the 17-yard line. Guys, you just saw some magic there by Danny DeSico. Anyone else in the NBAL, you call for a fair catch, you let that ball go into the end zone. But for Danny DeSico, you turn what could be getting buried in your own territory into a 13-yard game.
He did what we call in the industry making something out of nothing. He was pinned down there in the corner near the 4-yard line, and he just made a couple dekes, juked away from some Ramapo defenders, and got Wayne Hills all the way up to the 18-yard line.
So the Patriots will pretty much have to do their version of the 2-minute drill here. 2 minutes and 11 seconds here left in the first half as Gian Papa brings his troops to the line of scrimmage as Kale and Ogden split right. Gian Papa swings it out to Kale. Kale up the right sideline. Kale down the field as he crosses the 45-yard up to about the 49-yard line. So a 32-yard pass there from Mike Gian Papa as Jeremiah Kale gets his first reception of the season for this Wayne Hills team.
Yeah, I mean, Jerry just got a great swing pass, and he took it down the field to about the 50-yard line. Excellent play there by Jerry and Jeremiah. Jupu, pardon me.
You really have to credit Jeremiah Kale for getting past John Schreier. Schreier was unblocked, and Kale just beat him with his speed. And as we know from last year, Jeremiah Kale is very lethal running the football for this Wayne Hills team. I formation for the Patriots. 2 minutes left on the dot. As Kale gets another swing pass as he makes number 34 miss. as Kayo up the field as he takes to about the 34-yard line. As number 34, the freshman, Jack Bandazian, really did not account for the speed and moves of Jeremiah Kayo, as Kayo just totally kicked him out of his shoes, as Kayo takes it up for about an 18-yard gain.
Yeah, he made Bandazian look foolish right there, and pretty much the exact same play except run on the other side. And it looks good to see Jeremiah Kayo get the ball, considering Ogden has been Giapapa's favorite target so far this year.
So now that Giampapa has gone to a couple of short passes, as he hits the ball up the middle to DeSico, as DeSico gets up to about the 30-yard line. But what I was going to say was, now that Giampapa had a couple of swing passes, do you think he's setting up possibly the deep ball to Brian Ogden?
No, I mean, I think he's setting it up. I mean, if he keeps on running the ball, as the Patriots burn a timeout here to, actually the Ramapo Green Raiders burn a timeout to discuss some issues on the defensive side of the ball. But no, I think he is definitely setting up Brian Ogden for a potential red zone touchdown.
If I'm Coach Drew Gibbs, no matter what happens, the rest of the 25 minutes and 29 seconds remaining in this game, he has to get a video called Tackling 101 and show it to his team every day of that bye week, because Ramapo is just having a terrible time tackling this game. It doesn't matter if it's DeSico, Marson, or Kyle.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's going out there, and it's just happening.
Yeah, you know, well, I mean, one bright spot in that Ramapo defense, actually on that last play, Luke Mencken actually just made a touchdown-saving tackle. They faked out to go to Jeremiah again on the right side, and DeSico burst up the middle, and Mencken was the only one there to stop DeSico from scoring. And normally Danny would bounce off something like that, but Mencken got low, and he tackled DeSico.
1st and 10 for the Patriots from Ramapo's 31-yard line. A minute 29 here left in the first half. I formation, Giampapa back to pass. Surveys the right side of the field. It's a pass that's complete to DeSico. DeSico dekes out a tackler as DeSico is across the 30 up to about the 28-yard line for a 3-yard gain.
No, and you could definitely see Tim Divers coming in soon now with a minute 11 left. I think they're going to try him out, see what he's got from field goal range.
I think that's not a bad idea. Let's see what the kid's got.
Well, at 21-0, I think Olsen might want a bigger lead here, so Olsen will not be conservative here in this situation. As a trip set here for the Patriots, Giampapa fakes the handoff, rolls out to his left. He's looking down the field for Ogden. As the pass is incomplete, as Ogden could not get one foot down. I believe his right foot was partially touching the boundary line.
He was very close.
No, it was very close. I mean, it was borderline, but it's a judgment call.
Well, Coach Olsen does not have a red flag in his pocket, so
yeah,
I believe.
I don't know if he'd go as far as to challenge that last one. I think he was out of bounds. The ref made a good call there.
So it's 4th down here for the Patriots, about 4th and 4 from the 29-yard line. 5 wide receiver set. Giampapa passes complete to Marson as Marson dekes out number 7, Chris Larson.
But they're short.
That was Jeremiah Kayo at quarterback, Dave. Switching it up a little bit.
They thought
maybe a trick.
Yeah.
As Marson really had no room to run for the first down. He tried to deke out number 7, Chris Larson, as the Patriots turned the ball over on downs.
I don't know why. Maybe they wanted to put Jerry there as a decoy, maybe to run the ball. That would be my best guess.
Well, it could have been an option keeper there for Kyle. But I didn't even realize he was at quarterback, so Olsen's fooling everyone here as the Patriots elected not to try a 46-yard field. That's a little long for Tim Divers, especially for any high school kicker.
I was actually just going to say that. I was just calculating the yards out in my head to see how long it was.
As Jack Bandazian takes the ball up to about the 31-yard line, as there is under 25 seconds here left in the first half. So Ramapo will probably take a knee and go to the locker room down 21-0.
Do you guys feel the Wayne Hill should have put up a couple more points on the board, or do you think 21 points is enough for a first half?
Well, I think it's very good considering that the Patriots barely had offensive possession. As Imperatore takes the ball up to about the 35-yard line. As that is the end of the first half here at Patriots Stadium. As the Wayne Hills Patriots are on top of the Green Raiders of Ramapo 21-0. Guys, what are your thoughts on the first half of that?
To be honest with you, much closer than I expected. After the first offensive series for the Patriots, 1 play, 1 touchdown, I really thought there was going to be a lot more points up. So I'm shocked. I mean, Ramapo is not playing well, but Wayne Hills has barely any possessions on offense. So I guess that's what you could say for the low score. But Wayne Hills is absolutely outplaying Ramapo. There's no question. But Ramapo, they're playing tough.
Well, I mean, first quarter was pretty much all Wayne Hills. I mean, there's not a question there. They just looked so strong with the special teams and the running attack. But as the second quarter wound down, you started to see the Ramapo defense stiffen up a bit. Those defensive linemen were overpowering the offensive line of the Patriots and pressuring a little bit as they got them to lose that fourth down there at the end of the second quarter. But I think you'll probably see all Patriots for the second half.
Well, Wayne Hills, they really haven't had offensive possession that much because of their great special teams play, so they haven't had a lot of time to really do any damage offensively. But a couple of times that they had the ball on offense, they had to punt 2 times, so you have to give credit to Ramapo's defense. But really, Ramapo's played a lot better than I expected. They've ran the ball pretty well, but they've had trouble throwing the ball as Andrew Weiss has been pretty inaccurate. But I'm a little surprised Ramapo's actually pretty much held their own here for the most part, especially going against a team like Wayne Hills. And now I had a chance to catch up with number 25, Carlton Marson, the running back, safety, and this week the linebacker of your Wayne Hills football Patriots. Let's listen to what Carlton had to say. Welcome to the In the Locker Room Report. I'm David Suntup, standing by with the running back and safety for your Wayne Hills Patriots, number 25, Carlton Marson. So Carlton, you have Ramapo coming into town. They've really been struggling of late. 0-2. They've been blown out in both games. I know this is a big rivalry game, but is the rivalry diminished at all now that Ramapo has really been struggling and you guys have not even allowed a point in both games so far?
No, definitely not at all. I mean, Wayne Hills Ramapo has been going on for years. It's one of the biggest rivalries in New Jersey history, and it's gonna continue to be the biggest rivalry. I mean, Ramapo, obviously they got off to a bad start, 0-2, but it was the same thing last year when we played them. They were 0-4, but they came in, they played pretty hard, and we struggled a little bit in the beginning, but we picked it up in the second half. But no, it's Wayne Hills Ramapo. Wayne Hills Ramapo is always going to be big, and no matter what the record is.
Speaking of that game last year, which you brought up, you were a star in that game. The game was 14-7 Wayne Hills going to the second half, but they kicked the ball off to you, and you made them pay. How were you able to really be a game changer in that game, and what gave you the confidence that you can make the big play to really give Wayne Hills the edge?
Well, I mean, when we came in second half, we all sat down right here, and Coach said, we need someone to step up. We need someone to make a big play, and he asked people to raise their hand. He said, who's going to step up and make a big play? And I was one of the people who raised my hand and came out, took the second half kickoff 77 yards back to the house. And I mean, it was good because it gave our whole team confidence and momentum and to win the game.
At the end of that game, you guys won 28-7. You had 2 touchdowns in the second half. You're standing by with Eamon at the end of the game, and he's about to give you that trophy for the MSG Player of the Week. Yeah. What was going through your mind when you touched that trophy, and how proud were you to lead your team to victory against Ramapo and put your name in that Wayne Hills Ramapo rivalry?
I mean, I was shocked because I had no idea until the game was over, and he pulled me off to the side, and I saw he had a trophy in his hand, so I was just like, wow, this is really nice. But it was great though. It was a great feeling when he presented me with the award. I was really happy, and he asked me what went through my head during the second half kickoff, and I told him what happened. I looked left, looked right, and then they just sprinted, ran across the field, took it to the house. But no, it really did mean a lot to me. I mean, to get the MVP of that game and Snapple Player of the Week, it meant a lot.
So Ramapo, the first game against Ultapan, they really struggled at stopping the run. Jamie Rowe, 11 carries, 236 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Yeah. As a running back, how much confidence does that give you and Danny that hey, if he could do it, why can't Danny and I run the ball like that against Ramapo?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, the Ramapo Raiders defense, especially their run game, has not been good in the past 2 games. And Ultapan's running back Rowe, he's pretty good. Probably up there. Me and Danny, he's actually really good. He ran the ball a lot over them, and I mean. Definitely me and Danny are confident and looking forward to running the ball against these Ramapo defense.
So Ramapo, the defensive line is very small. Average weight, probably about 210, 215. Even that may be stretching it. How important is it for your line, because your offensive line is pretty big, how important is it for that line to really take advantage of their size to make holes for you and Danny?
Oh, it's definitely important. I mean, last week against last week on our game against Bergenfield, the O-line stepped up tremendously big. They were opening huge holes. I mean, we had 3 All-State linemen last year on the line, but and the holes were just as big with our line this year, which is kind of inexperienced. But they stepped up. They did a big job. The holes were huge. It looked like last year, and it was great.
So obviously, anyone who knows Carlton Marson, they think offense, they think running back, they think kickoff returns, they think touchdowns. But let's switch to the defensive side of the ball. Now you're a starter on defense, and against Bergenfield, you didn't disappoint, to say the least. 7 tackles, an interception, many thunderous hits. How could you really put a finger on why you've been so successful on defense?
I mean, I have not played defense since sophomore year, playing in JV games. I have been waiting to play defense for about 2 years now. I mean, as soon as we came up and we got everything together, and now this week I'm actually going to be starting at middle linebacker, but last week at safety. I mean, I just couldn't wait to get out there and hit people. But now I'm back to my old position this week because Timmy's out with an ankle injury. But now I'm at middle linebacker again, and it's going to be great, me hitting people again.
So Denny Marson, your grandpa, coached defense for many years, high school, college, even in the NFL for the Giants and the Jets, was a D-line coach. What's the biggest thing that he taught you about playing defense, and how much has that helped you playing defense this year for Coach Olson and the Wayne Hills Patriots?
The most important thing he's taught me about defense is definitely be aware of your surroundings. Know what you're looking for. Read your keys. As a middle linebacker, you're supposed to read through the guard's helmet. If they pull, you're supposed to go one way. If they pull the other way, you're supposed to go the other way. But yeah, definitely reading my keys and knowing my surroundings. And when I'm in pass coverage, picking up the right people, passing off the right people. You know, when I'm calling the huddle, making sure I got the right formation and everything like that. I mean, it's a really important job, especially now that Timmy's out, and I have to step up big and call the defense now. But we're gonna do a pretty good job against this Ramapo's offense.
So after it's all said and done, will you guys win your 5th straight game against your rival, the Green Raiders of Ramapo, and will you have your 31st win in a row?
Definitely hope so. I mean, we're going to come in confident. Wayne Hills Ramapo, like I said before, is one of the biggest rivalries in New Jersey. Everyone's going to come out here. Everyone knows what they're in for, both on Ramapo's side of the ball and our side of the ball. We know what we're getting ourselves into, and hopefully we come away with our 31st victory.
Carlton, thank you very much. Best of luck against Ramapo. That was Carlton Marson, a playmaker on both sides of the ball for the Wayne Hills Football Patriots, and we'll be right back after a short break.
Welcome back here to the Patriots Stadium, and here are the first half highlights for the Wayne Hills Patriots, and there are many for Wayne Hills. Great special teams part there as a punt by Tesico down inside the 5-yard line by Marson and Ogden. And as a result, Ramapo had terrible field position. Weiss with the line drive punt taken by Marson at the 36-yard line. Look at the speed by Carlton and the blocking by DeSico and Avedizian. Marson up the right sideline as Hindenburg paves the way for Marson into the end zone. 14-0 Patriots. And Marson doing it on the defensive side of the ball as he sacks Andrew Weiss. Patriots taking on offense as Marson again running up the right side of the field, taking tacklers inside the 10-yard line, which sets up another Patriots score. As Dave DeSico comes onto the field, the jumbo set, DeSico up the middle for a 6-yard touchdown. It's 21-0 Patriots. Giampapa swings it out to Kale as Kale totally beats John Schroer right down the field, down the right side as Kale is just shy of midfield. And then Kale again, another swing pass from Giampapa. The next play as Kale muscles his way across the 35-yard line. And then Giampapa back to pass. He's looking for Brian Ogden. A questionable call here. It looks like Brian Ogden gets a foot down. He's called out of bounds. And now let's send it over to the Wayne Hills Marching Band, led by Matt Paterno and drum majors Omar Nuke and Danielle Kluger.
Librarians Holly Bastanek, Lori McNamara, Julia Rimvid, and Demi Steluppi, along with webmaster Noriel Valdez. Tonight's field repertoire: Portrait of a Superhero, Movement 1 Power, Movement 2 Adventure, and Movement 3 Action. The Wayne Hills Patriot Marching Band. Ladies and gentlemen, let's return that salute with a standing round of applause for the Wayne Hills Patriot Marching Band.
And welcome back here to the second half of action here at Patriot Stadium as the Wayne Hills Patriots are defeating the Ramapo Raiders 21-0. As I would like to thank the Wayne Hills Marching Band for their fantastic performance. I'm David Suntup, and now I am joined in the booth by Wayne Today sports columnist Rich Stambulian. So, Rich, Ramapo came out here, almost got a first down. They elected to punt on 4th and 1 at about their own 40-yard line. Did you agree with Coach Gibbs' decision on that play to punt the ball? And first of all, why would you punt to Danny or Carlton when they're so lethal at returning punts and kicks?
Yeah, you got to kind of pick your own poison when you punt to those guys. It was, a call could have gone either way. I was a little bit surprised by it, but I understand what Coach is trying to do in that case. He's trying to make sure that they don't give away a cheap one early.
Also, we know Ramapo coming to this game, they've had so much trouble stopping the run. Why do you think they've had so much trouble stopping the run this season?
I think they're outsized. They're outquicked. Everybody kind of thought that, after last year being kind of a tough year for them, this year was going to be kind of a similar year. I don't think, quite honestly, they have the talent that we're used to seeing at Ramapo.
Andrew Weiss, very inexperienced quarterback for Ramapo. He's had a lot of trouble tonight. He's been very inaccurate. Why do you think he's been so inaccurate with his passes?
Well, part of that is probably inexperience, and part is, of course, the pressure that Wayne Hills is putting on him, like they do, against all opposing quarterbacks the last few years.
The one issue that Wayne Hills has had tonight, even though they haven't had too many issues this season, stopping the run tonight against Ramapo. Andrew Imperatore has had a lot of success, especially running the ball up the middle of that Wayne Hills defensive line. How do the Patriots really tighten up their run defense to slow down Imperatore?
Well, they've got to start winning the battles in the trenches. Obviously, they're missing Nico Stevens. That's a big part of their line play on both sides. So the guys who are filling in have to really, win the battle in the trenches, fire off the ball and hold their ground and make plays. I mean, the line play was Coach Olson's biggest concern probably from the beginning of the season.
So Ramapo, they're coming into the second half. They're only down 21-0, which is a pretty small deficit for a team playing Wayne Hills.
Right.
Do you give Ramapo any chance to get back into this game? And what would they have to do to really get some momentum?
Well, they're going to have to probably score the first touchdown. And I'd say that would qualify him as being back in the game. If they can score a touchdown in the first half, let's say, of the third quarter, they close the margin to 21-7. First of all, it would be the first point scored against Wayne Hills, all season, which you figure maybe it puts a little doubt in the Patriots' mind, and it gives the Raiders a boost. I mean, they're coming in 0-2. They're looking for something positive to build on. If they score a touchdown in the early going in the second half, then they got to feel good about themselves, and that'll keep their level of play up. I don't think they have a legitimate chance to win this game. They'd have to cash in on get some breaks and cash in on them. But they can hang tough with the Patriots.
Well, Rich, I definitely agree with you because 2 years ago, Wayne Hills was down 26-7 at Ramapo Stadium, MSG game of the week. They drove all the way down the field, and Peischel actually threw or I think they were driving, and Peischel threw an interception, and then Ramapo was in Wayne Hills territory about the 24-yard line, and Ramapo failed on 4th down, and then Wayne Hills got all the momentum from that one defensive stand. But let's look ahead for the Patriots. After this game against Ramapo, they hit the road for 2 at Mawa and at Otapan. What do you think the Patriots need to improve upon to really dominate Mawa and especially Otapan, because Otapan is the second best team in the NBIL?
Right, Otapan's has been for the last several years a pretty physical team. They presented the biggest physical challenge to Wayne Hills, and the Patriots are going to have to be ready for that. They're going to step up the competition. They're going to step up in competition that they face in the next 3 games. And I think Coach Olson's concern from having talked to him is, are we ready to do that? they've got to improve on their execution. At times, you've seen in 2.5 games so far this year, you've seen stretches of, we'll just call it sloppiness. And he's looking for that consistent effort where the team is playing hard and fundamentally executing all the time. When you play against better quality teams, and that I'm going to include Mawa in that group, you can't afford to make mental mistakes and physical mistakes and let those teams think that they have a chance to win.
Rich, thank you very much. Always an honor.
Thank you.
And we'll be back right after a short break.
Welcome back to Patriot Stadium as we look to begin the second half of action as the Wayne Hills Patriots take on the Ramapo Green Raiders. They lead them 21-0. I'm Andrew Gayo, alongside me, David Suntup and Aaron Ploshnick. Gentlemen, first half, really all Wayne Hills. Did not have a lot of possession time, but in the short time that they did have it, they were successful. Ramapo Green Raiders, they were a little flat. What does Ramapo have to do to get themselves back into the contest, Dave?
Well, basically, they need a big defensive stand here because 2 years ago when Wayne Hills came back at Ramapo Stadium, it all started with defense. I believe it was 4th and 13. Ramapo had the ball on the Hills 24-yard line, and they failed to score on 4th down. Right after that, Wayne Hills marched down the field. They got 3 touchdowns in the second half en route to a 27-26 comeback victory. So it all starts on the defensive side of the ball. If Ramapo could force a 3-and-out for the Patriots, then Ramapo basically needs to come down the field and score to have any chance in this game.
You know, I really can't see Ramapo coming back in this game. The Patriots' defense is too strong. It's been strong for the first 2 games and now continuing in this first half. I see the Patriots blanking their third straight opponent. I don't think Ramapo will get out here with a point. I mean, there's nothing else I can say. The Patriots are just a very dominant team, and they prove it week after week.
And they definitely do. But one thing that is for concern is that the Ramapo offensive line has not done such a horrible job out there. They are giving Weiss decent protection, at best at least, but it's definitely been closer than expected.
Well, the Patriots lost 3 starters on that line last year, 3 All-State players, and Dave Ogden, Scott Schultz, and Matt Johnson. So the new players in the offensive line, Bowen Jones, Ryan Salerno, and Paul Drake, really need to step it up and really do a better job at getting penetration on the offensive line. And remember, this Ramapo offensive line is really not that big in size. They're not too much taller than 6 feet, and they don't weigh too much more than 210 pounds as their average weight. And the only returning star on this defensive line is Kyle Hannenberg, who had a sensational season last year for the Patriots.
Kyle Hannenberg is just an animal in all aspects of the game. You always hear him in the pregame screaming his head off. He's a very loud player, and he proves himself on the field when he plays. He's one of these defensive leaders for the Patriots.
The sophomore Ross Krautman is going to kick off. His older brother, Rick Krautman, sensational all-state kicker for Ramapo, graduated back in 2003, pardon me. And he now currently kicking at William Patterson University. Recently kicked the game-winning field goal against nationally ranked Wilkes University. Squib kick there by Krautman, taken by Mike Roman at about the 37-yard line. Roman trying to make a move, going up the field, gets it to about the 45-yard line where the Patriots will take over. Sensational return there by Mike Roman.
Totally unexpected there, the squib kick by Krautman. And Mike Roman, he was just deacon blockers out, breaking tackles, giving them a lift to school. Mike Roman, just a sensational run there. It wasn't the longest run like DeSico and Marson had earlier in the game, but Mike Roman really showing that he could carry the ball for this Wayne Hills Patriots. And he's a fullback for this team, so maybe, I know it wasn't a play at the fullback position, but maybe he'll get some more carries later on.
Giampapa hands it off to DeSico, makes a spin move, runs down the right side, trying to pick up a block downfield. Good block there by Jail. It's into the end zone. Touchdown, Wayne Hills Patriots. Danny DeSico marches into the end zone, and the Patriots are taking a 27-0 lead.
And way to shoot right out of the gates in the second half. Danny DeSico, a monster in his own right. Roman carries people on his backs, but Dan DeSico, just as much a pinball wizard as Carlton Marsden is. He bounces off people and just made an excellent juke around the 10-yard line and just waltzed in for the score. Great job by DeSico.
Danny DeSico just came out of the locker room with a hammer and just nailed the nail in the coffin on Ramapo with that run. He did a great job using Jeremiah Kale to get into the end zone.
Snap is good. The hold is good. Diver's kick goes through. We're going to take a look at the run there by the DD Express, Danny DeSico. It was just fantastic. Jipu gets a good handoff there. DeSico's spin was the key to the play, and then he just stuttered step, got into the end zone. Quite frankly, Danny DeSico's all you need.
Danny DeSico dancing with the stars on that play, but what really made that play, besides that spin move by DeSico, was the block by Jeremiah Kale. Jeremiah Kale, such an underrated blocker for this Wayne Hills team. He's been doing it on special teams for years, and now doing it as a wide receiver, as Jeremiah Kale really paved the way for DeSico to get into the end zone.
Oh, as Chris Berman would say, Danny DeSico rumbling, bumbling, stumbling, getting his way into the end zone. That's his third touchdown of the game, I believe.
As DeSico now has 9 touchdowns on the season, 9 touchdowns in 3 games. We still have 11 minutes and 39 seconds here left in the third quarter.
I mean, just fantastic, to say the least. Great momentum to open the second half, trying to take the life out of the Ramapo Green Raiders, whatever left they have. Kickoff there, taken at about the 10-yard line, taken up the field as tackled there by Brian Ogden. And that was returned there by Jack Slingland, the junior wide receiver. So they got a lot of young talent, these Ramapo Green Raiders.
Jack Slingland showing that the return team for Ramapo does not just belong to number 5, Zach Moore, as Slingland taking the ball to the 35-yard line, as Wallerwell could not be happy with that last return.
Weiss with a 3-wide receiver set. Weiss hands it off there to Imperatori, takes it up the field to about the 40-yard line.
Just adding on your comment of young talent, guys. Just looking at the lineups for this year, projecting to next year, they'll have their starting quarterback, Andrew Weiss, back. They'll have their 2 best running backs back, Imperatori and Bandanzium, and their second best wide receiver will return to the field, along with Devin Shuck, who should have been their best wide receiver this year. So Ramapo could have a potent offense next year.
Well, Devin Shuck is hurt. He should be back in a week or 2, and he'll take over as a starting running back. But their time is really next year. Weiss will have another year under his belt. Devin Shuck will only be a junior, so they have a bright window coming up next year in the next couple years.
Pardon me, actually, yes, Devin Shuck is a running back, not a wide receiver.
Bandazian just was trucked there by Carlton Marson. Carlton really is making a name for himself on the first year of defense that he's playing at the varsity level.
And getting back to Carlton, he talked about in the locker room report how he really wants to be aggressive on defense, and he just has so much fire in his eyes. He can't wait to make the big hit. But getting back to Bandazian, Andrew, you saw him run against Ultapan back in week 1. He looks pretty good. He had 70 yards as a freshman playing varsity.
He was exceptional as Weiss's pass there, intended for Steve Harvey, the D1 AA prospect, is incomplete. So that'll bring up 4th and 9 as the punting unit will bring on the field. And Mr. Special Teams himself, Carlton Marson, and Danny DeSico will go out to return the punt.
I really don't think they're going to punt to him. I think he'll probably kick the ball out of bounds towards the right sideline.
All I can say is, where's gym teacher Brad Smith when you need him to catch another ball out of bounds?
He's on the sideline somewhere. They opt not to do it. Kicks it there to Marson, gets a great block as DeSico takes out 2 guys. Marson's looking for people down the field. Picks up a block by Matt Rubin and is taken down at the 44-yard line. Great blocking down the field and a great run and return by Carlton Marson.
Carlton Marson just saw daylight there. He got a great block just to start out the play, and then Rubin coming in with a block at the end, giving him 5 extra yards to add on to his total.
I know Ramapo is not the same powerhouse as they were in previous years. As you see, Wayne Hills is up 28-0. 9 minutes and 57 seconds here left in the third quarter. But why would you ever still kick the ball to Carlton Marson and DeSico? Drew Gibbs knows way too well. Carlton Marson torched Ramapo last year in that game and really opened that game up for Wayne Hills. And let's take a replay at that punt return by Carlton Marson. As a nice high kick by Weiss, as Marson takes it about the 32-yard line. Really does a nice job taking the ball to the other side of the field. As Mike Roby just comes into your picture and makes a great hit. And Marson across midfield to the 44-yard line.
The
Why would
Roman
you-
Empire
Oh,
coming
baby.
on in, as Jimmy Cavallo would say.
So I know Ramapo isn't as good as they have been in past years, but you can't make coaching mistakes like that. Always-
Chifu hands off to Marson up the left side, picks up a couple of yards, and they'll bring up 3rd down for the Patriots.
You should never make the same mistake twice, as Drew Gibbs has made way too many times in this game. And he's lucky that that return by Marson didn't result in a touchdown. As Marson is coming off the field limping, let's hope he's okay. The Patriots already have Nico Stevens out with a shoulder injury. He's out indefinitely. And Tim Waller is week to week with a sprained ankle.
I was just going to mention that. Mike Reynolds, the Ramapo offensive tackle, grabbed Marson on the leg, and he came down a little bit hard and came off the field limping. So let's hope that Carlton Marson is okay, and maybe our sideline reporter, Brian Dubow, might get an injury update coming soon.
DeSico takes it up the field, keeps running, keeps churning. But men are going for the ball. That is the reason why the Ramapo Greeners simply can't tackle DeSico, because they're only going for the strip.
Dan DeSico showing off his leg strength there, powering through a Ramapo defender, carrying defenders for an extra 5 yards. Just a sensational run there by Dan DeSico, as you just see the desire to get every yard on the field. And Dan DeSico today in TV class, he was carrying around the game ball, which is a tradition for a certain Wayne Hills player to carry the game ball during school, and he came ready to play.
Chifu hands it off to Marson, who gets back into the game, scrambles up the middle for about a gain of 2 yards, which will bring up 2nd down and about 8.
Thank goodness Carlton Marson is okay.
So now 7:56 remaining here. Patriots lead 28-0, looking to score once again to extend their lead even further.
So Wayne Hills inside the red zone again as it's 2nd and 6 from the 10-yard line. Look for a lot of carries from DeSico and Marson, as the Patriots usually do a fantastic job running the ball inside the 10-yard line.
Chifu hands it off to Marson. Marson gets up the middle for a couple more yards, just short of the end zone, which will bring up a 3rd down play for the Patriots.
You should expect the jumbo set here. The Patriots, when they're inside the 5-yard line, always bring out that jumbo set and look for possibly Mike Roman or Ryan Dodaro to come in that jumbo set package and really pave the way for DeSico or Marson.
And there just went Danny DeSico back onto the field. Jumbo set. Very good possibility right here with DeSico jamming the ball in as he is known to do.
Official timeout.
I think they're going to call for a measurement, as the ball seems close to a 1st down, but they will check the linesmen, the Dedernos, Lenny Dederno Sr. and Lenny Dederno Jr.
And speaking of the Dernos, Ryan Dederno just turned 17 yesterday. He is now driver's seat eligible. So if you're driving in Wayne, New Jersey, watch out for Mr. Dederno in the driver's seat.
Speaking of birthdays coming up, guys, just want to let you know, if you didn't know, my birthday is coming up in exactly 8 days, and it will be the monumental 18th birthday for me. So an early happy birthday to myself.
So Aaron, now you can buy lottery tickets. You know, a lot of stuff you can do at 18. But just make sure you don't do anything bad, because, you know, now you don't go to juvie, you go to jail if you're 18.
Folks, jot that down on your calendar. DeSico plummets his way into the end zone. His 4th touchdown in the game for the Danny DeSico Express. 34-0. Oh my goodness, it's a blowout.
As my wonderful Spanish teacher Fernanda Amaral would say, that's numero cuatro for Danny DeSico. He's such a powerhouse and wonderful player.
DeSico racking up the touchdown numbers this season. His 4th touchdown of the game and his 10th on the season. Just sensational for DeSico.
Divers will take another extra point attempt. Divers' kick. Hey, what do you know? It's good. Let's take a look at that last run by Danny DeSico, the man with a mission. Jumbo set for the Patriots. To the right side, counter option right up the middle. Danny's the man. Hey, Brian DeBow's got something. Brian, what do you got? Never mind. Maybe a miscommunication.
As we're having some technical difficulties here. Sorry about that. And Tim Divers, now 21 for 21 on extra point attempts. Is it even a shock anymore when he makes a kick?
I mean, it's automatic. It's just that simple.
I'm interested to find out what the record for most consecutive extra points in Wayne Hills is. I don't know, maybe that could be a future trivia question, but Divers is probably pretty close to it.
Well, we know that Tim Divers actually holds a record now for the Wayne Hills Patriots. Number of extra points made in a game, which is 9, which he broke back on September 8th at Northern Highlands.
Right.
Kickoff return taken there as Patriots still struggle on the kickoffs against the Green Raiders. And Brian Dubow, let's see what he's got, Brian.
Thanks, guys. It seems that every team that Wayne Hills is versing this year, their defense is having a lot of trouble. No one's been able to put up points against Wayne Hills. There's not been 1 point scored against Wayne Hills defense all season, and they're just struggling. Also, after tonight's win, which it seems to be, Wayne Hills will have their 31st consecutive victory, longest in Wayne history. Also, they'll have their 5th consecutive win against Ramapo every year. All right, thanks. That's all. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Brian. Zach Moore took a reverse, actually stuck his hand on Mike Roman's face mask, which brought him down because Mike Roman held on and said, if you're going to hold on to my face mask, I'm just going to hold right back onto you.
How is that not a 15-yard face mask penalty on Mr. Moore there?
Maybe the ref was trying to hear the Mets score. I don't know.
Well, memos from the referees. Your reservation at Outback is not until 10 o'clock.
You know, maybe the ref just had a temporary moment of blindness.
Weiss with 3 wide receivers. Check that. Weiss hands off there to Imperatore.
That was perfectly read by the Patriots defensive line.
Well, you can definitely see that Coach Olsen definitely tinker with his defense a little bit as Ryan Salerno and Paul Drake and Bowen Jones, the 3 of them, including Kyle Hamburg too, that whole defensive line really doing a great job penetrating against a smaller offensive line unit for Ramapo. As Ryan Salerno gets a tackle for a loss. Ryan Salerno, only a sophomore, playing varsity, and he's really stepped up this game for Wayne Hills.
Oh, he's a big boy, to say the least. I mean, he's going out there as a sophomore, and he's making his presence felt. Big guy, you get hit by him, you're going to feel it in the morning. Weiss, 3rd and 11 for the Green Raiders of Ramapo. 3 wide receiver set. Weiss drops back, gets time, throws up the right side. It's going to be batted away there by Ronnie Drees in his first varsity start. Ronnie Drees is making his name known.
Ronnie Drees, he looks wonderful. Great step-for-step coverage with who was the receiver on that play? I'm sorry, I didn't see.
I believe it was Zach Moore, but it was just unbelievable coverage there. And to get his hand up there to bat it down, just great job by Ronnie Drees.
And Ronnie Drees only stands at 5'8", small in stature, but huge in heart and desire. And he really knows how to cover those wide receivers, as he's showing so far.
Weiss's punt is a wobbly one that almost hits Mark Kirk on the sideline. Punt goes out of bounds at about the 35-yard line, where Mike Giampapa and the Patriots will take over.
So, Andrew, the stars of the Patriots only usually played 1 series in the 3rd quarter. Do you think it's important for them to play most of the 3rd quarter just to get their stamina up?
Oh, I think so. I mean, I think towards the end of the year, Coach Olsen will have them going most of the game because just to get their mindset and their physique ready for the North 1 Group 3 playoffs.
You know, this year they have a pretty easy schedule, and they're just going to keep rolling. So as long as they keep their starters in good health, they should be ready for the playoffs.
DeSico scampers down the left side, and he picks up a gain about 9 yards.
And now let's take a look at some key stats on offense for the Patriots through the first 2 weeks of the season. Mike Giampapa, look at those numbers, 13 for 18, 152 quarterback weighting, just sensational. DeSico and Marson combined for 9 touchdowns. Brian Ogden stepping up as a junior, 3 touchdowns. And then Jeremiah Kale, 6 carries for 84 yards. And tonight has been a big threat in the receiving game for the Patriots.
Now, you look at that stat. Brian Ogden, 3 receptions for 3 touchdowns. That's telling you something there. 2nd and 9 now for the Patriots. Giampapa hands off there to DeSico. Trips and stumbles. He's all right just out of frustration. That'll bring up a 3rd down play now, I think, for Wayne Hills.
I think that's one of the first negative yardage carries for Dan DeSico all season.
Yeah, I mean, and that was on his own fault, so not that big of a deal, not a biggie. So now I'll bring up 3rd down for the Patriots as they look to get a first down and keep the chains moving as the clock ticks down to 3:56 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Patriots lead 35-0. I'm Andrew Gayo. Alongside me, David Suntup, Aaron Ploshnick, and the man on the sides, Brian Dubow.
I wonder if we're going to see the trick play here. Maybe a bubble screen.
I don't think so.
Not in the jumbo set.
Hands it off
That's
there.
a face mask.
And he is taken down. I believe that was DeSico. So that'll bring up a 4th down play. I say they go for it.
Unbelievable the referee did not see the face mask there. I clearly saw his helmet fly to the left side. There was a hand in there, and the referee did not see that.
Well, Aaron, maybe since the last time I checked the rule book, they took out the face mask rule. Could that be a good guess?
I guess so.
Oh, they're going for it because Mike Giampapa is back on the field, and Dubow is not the punter for the Patriots. So
he did play defense freshman year, though, from what I remember. I believe he did.
Was that
the
only year?
Corner.
I believe he played defensive back.
Wasn't he hurt most of his freshman year, though?
He was, but I think he was listed as a defensive back. Hand off there to DeSico as the Green Raiders are going to stop the Patriots for a turnover on down. So now the Ramapo Green Raiders are going to try to get some momentum back into their system.
Well, Ramapo has done a great job on 4th down this game so far, stopping Wayne Hills on both of their 4th down attempts, but I think it's a little too late. There's no way they can overcome a 35-point deficit with only about 15 minutes left in this contest.
You know, yeah, with time winding down in the 3rd quarter, my prediction of 0 points is standing strong right now, but this is prime field position for the Green Raiders. Let's see if they can make something come out of it.
Ramapo brings it up, trying to avoid an 0-3 start.
I think
Weiss, 2 wide receiver set, drops back, pump fakes, throws the long ball down the right sideline, and that one is
intercepted.
It's looking for a call from the referee. Intercepted by Ronnie Drees.
What a
Ronnie
play!
Drees. Oh my goodness,
Wow.
His first varsity start. What a catch there by number 23.
That was phenomenal coverage on that play. The ball was batted up by Drees. He caught his own bat. Spectacular play for the junior, Ronnie Drees.
Ronnie Drees playing a little taps there, tapping the ball away from Chris Larson. As Drees with his first career interception, but Andrew Weiss had so much pressure on that play, even though he showed off his great arm, as Paul Drake just threw Weiss to the ground.
Intercept the city for the Green Raiders. Jipu. Pump, play action fake, rolls out to the right side, looking for a man downfield, almost finds Kyle Hannenberg. And we got to take a look at that interception because that was a beauty, to say the least. Weiss shows off the cannon. Actually, a little push off there by Chris Larson, the junior, and it fell right into Drees' hands. Drees tipped it and fell on top of it. Drees, he's stepping up.
You know, that actually reminds me of a play actually on the other side of the ball. Actually, we're going to show this play again. Look at this tip.
I mean, right? That's just unbelievable. That's going to hit the highlight video if I didn't see another one, man.
Like I was saying before, it was a game, the Green Bay Packers versus the Minnesota Vikings.
Antonio Freeman.
Yeah, Antonio Freeman for the Green Bay Packers tipped the ball up. It was almost intercepted by Darren Sharper, and Freeman pulled it down and ran it in for a touchdown untouched.
Jeremiah Kale takes it down the sideline. I don't believe it was Sharper.
No,
Sharper's on
Sharper at the time was on the same team as him. Not to call you out or anything.
I could not remember the name of the
it's okay. It was a while ago, but Kale took it down the field and had a nice run there. So that will bring up 2nd down for the Patriots.
Ronnie Drees has just had a fantastic night here under the lights against Ramapo, and I'm just really happy for him because his first 2 years, he struggled with injuries. He played great at running back and quarterback, but it was tough for him to stay on the field. But I most remember my times playing basketball with Ronnie Drees back in 8th grade, playing at the Police Athletic League for the Dallas Mavericks. He was the point guard, I was the center. And I just loved playing with him. He was such a great player, so quick, as he's really showing off his speed tonight. Such a great decision maker. And he's really showing some of those smarts that he showed on the basketball court here on the football gridiron for Coach Olson.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate. I'm sorry, Andrew. Go ahead.
He definitely has good lateral movement out there. I mean, he has good focus, and you just saw that, a good body balance as he intercepted that play. So that'll bring up 2nd and 7 for the Patriots. Giampapa leads his troops to the line. Chipu hands it off there to Marson. Marson getting pushed around, but he moves the ball up the north instead of going south, and he will pick up a couple of yards, which bring up 3rd and about 5 for the Patriots.
I'd just like to give a quick shout out to my father, Ira Ploshnick. He asked me to give him a quick shout out. He's a loyal watcher of our Wayne Hills TV production shows, including the 30-minute drill and our coverage of most of the sporting events. So, Dad, if you're watching, hi to you, and this is your shout out.
Ira, I love Ira.
Yeah, Ira's just a legend around Wayne, New Jersey. Don't even need to call him by his last name because they just know him by the 3-letter word known as Ira.
The IRA. Chipu's pass sails wide over Joe Volpe's head, so that brings out the punting unit for the Patriots.
What some people don't know was my dad was actually a 3-year starter at Bridgeport University as a quarterback. He likes to help Michael Giampapa with his quarterbacking because it reminds him of being back in college. And although he's not an official coach on the staff because he doesn't have teaching credits, he likes to help out the players as much as possible, considering some of these players do play on our Wayne Y Knights basketball team over at the YWYMHA of North Jersey.
So, guys, let's take a look at the next 2 weeks ahead as Wayne Hills burns the timeout. Wayne Hills will rack up some bus mileage. Mahwah, New Jersey, next stop on Friday, September 28th, under the lights at the new turf field at Mahwah Stadium. And the following week, they play another game on a turf field, Saturday, October 6th at 7 o'clock as they face Jamie Rowe, Kyle Jansen, Mike Hurley, and the Golden Knights of Old Japan. Guys, what should we expect out of this Wayne Hills team the next 2 weeks?
I mean, it's going to be battle-tested. You got Mahwah, then you got the Golden Knights of Old Japan, and Old Japan's rough. It's going to be a struggle, but they're Wayne Hills, and Wayne Hills is Wayne Hills. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, I believe both teams were initially ranked in the top 20 in the Bergen record poll.
Top 25, yes, they were.
Top 25 coming both into the season. So you've got a little bit of a test in Mahwah. I think Wayne Hills can handle them pretty easily. But Old Japan is going to be a great game, and I can't wait to see what happens in that one.
Punt there by Kale, taken by Mark Kirk at the 31-yard line. And so now now it looks like that's where the Raiders will take over. Jeremiah Kale taking punts, Dave.
Well, very surprising there. I guess Coach Olsen trying to change it up. I don't know if he was trying to go for a fake there. He could have because Jeremiah could throw and run. So now Kale showing a lot of versatility there. Throwing the ball, running the ball, catching the ball, punting the ball. He's a jack of all trades for this Wayne Hills team. But getting back to what you're saying about the Patriots' upcoming road games at Mahwah and Old Japan. Old Japan and Wayne Hills both ranked in the top 10 in the records poll. Wayne Hills was number 2. I think Old Japan might have been 7 or 8.
I last saw
take it down the field by Imperatore. He's making a move, and he's going to be stopped by Jeremiah Kale at the 35-yard line. Imperatore showing a great burst of speed.
Back to what I was saying, yeah, I believe last time I saw Old Japan in the rankings, they were number 8 in the Bergen record poll. So, I mean, it's a 2 versus 8 matchup. Let's see what happens, because I can't see it not being a great game. It will probably be Wayne Hills' biggest test until they reach the playoffs.
So a 33-yard run there by Imperatore, showing off some great speed down the right sideline. He's really run the ball well tonight. And guys, is stopping the run now a concern for the Patriots after what Hernandez did last week on Bergenfield and now what Imperatore has done tonight?
Well, it's always been a problem in the past out of the little problems they have. Weiss throws a deep one down the middle of the field to an open receiver and Jack Slingland, and that will be down at about the 5-yard line. Nobody was on him, a missed assignment. And Danny DeSico's hobbling off the field. This is not good.
You know, it was actually a double fake reverse. They faked to the initial handoff, and then they faked the reverse. And the Patriots were expecting run, and they got passed. So they were a little bit unprepared for that.
Andrew Weiss showing off a cannon there as he almost overthrew Jack Slingland. But Slingland, no one in the vicinity of where he caught the ball. And let's send it out to Brian Dubow, who has some information for us. Brian, take it away.
Thanks, guys. After bouncing back from a leg injury last year, Mike Giapapa was doing an excellent job tonight of passing the ball, getting nice play action, and hooking up with his receivers like Brian Ogden and Jeremiah Kale. It's very impressive the leadership this young man possesses. That's all for now. Back up to you guys.
Thank you, Brian, for that source of vital information. As this brings us out to the fourth quarter, and it is a concern, Dave, especially the running backs. The running game is the running defense. Pardon me. It's tough. So 35-0 as we begin the fourth quarter. As Dave Suntup is out of words, speechless, because they just announced the Mets score. And the Florida Marlins are defeating the New York Mets 4-3. David.
Well, Andrew, you can't make fun of me because last time I checked, we're in first place, and you guys are still in the wild card position. And just so you know, $200 million does not guarantee world championships. So unless you guys win 11 games in October, the season's a failure. But let's keep it out. Let's keep it out football for now, though.
6-letter word for collapse. 07 Mets. Thank you,
it's a
Mr.
6-letter
Hill.
word for success once October comes around. Just watch, Andrew.
Yeah, I hope you're right. I like New York sports. I'm not going to get into this argument.
Hands it off there to Imperatore.
And the
he's going to be stuffed.
Stout Patriots defensive line.
Guys, I talked to Dan DeSico in my TV class yesterday as he watched me edit in the locker room where I interviewed Carlton Marson. And we were talking about the goal line stands the Patriots have made in the past. And it goes back to last year against Passaic Valley where they batted down the pass by Jim Nylund. And then last week, Vin Brunetti's pass was batted down by Brett Ogden. And Dan DeSico said the defense really steps up in goal line situations. So look for that right here.
Weiss hands it off to Imperatore to the right side. Leaps to the end zone, and he's going to be shut short at the 1-yard line. So that'll bring up third and about 1 for the Green Raiders.
So the Ramapo Raiders are within 1 yard of scoring the first points of the season on this Wayne Hills team. And Burnfield came pretty close last week, but Northern Highlands had an 80-yard touchdown pass against this Wayne Hills team back in week 1, but there was a holding penalty that negated the touchdown.
3rd and 3 for the Green Raiders. Hand off there to number 44, Mike Goals, and he's going to be stuffed. So I'll bring up a 4th down play for the Green Raiders to get into the end zone.
On the first play inside the 10-yard line, they tried to run the ball up the middle. They got stuffed. But why would Ramapo go back to something that didn't work? I really have no idea why Drew Gibbs possibly didn't try to run the ball to the outside or maybe try some play action and possibly go to Zach Moore.
It's intimidation, David. That's what it is, because it seemed every single time that they've made a move, it's led into a mistake. 4th and 3, big stop here for the Patriots. Weiss, play action fake, throws it into the end zone, and it's going to be caught for a touchdown. I believe that Mike Goals dropped it, but they called it a touchdown. At least that's what the referee signaled.
You know, I thought he dropped it, and then I realized, yeah, he caught the ball, had possession, passed the plane to the goal line. And he just dropped it out of pure joy that he even scored a touchdown.
Replay, I don't know. I mean, that was close, but they're going to call it a touchdown. So that puts the Patriots lead to 35-6.
And there goes the 11-quarter scoreless streak for the Patriots, snapped in the 4th quarter of Wayne Hills versus Ramapo.
Krautman the kick. Kick sails through the uprights. So the score now, Wayne Hills 35 and the Ramapo Green Raiders 7.
Guys, did Drew Gibbs intercept our headset reception? Because I think he just listened to what I said. He used play action, and Weiss threw a nice pass to his running back, Mike Goltz, as he was one-on-one against Ronnie Dries, and Goltz has the same height as Dries, but Goltz just beat him to the outside as he catches the first touchdown pass against Wayne Hills.
Well, he was definitely using some trickery, as you see Lenny DiNerno Jr. on your television screen. So now 35-7, Patriots are going to try to regroup here, try to burn time, or the remaining time down to seal the victory. Ramapo now down by 28 points, so the deficit is humongous.
And we get to see Ross Krautman come out again for the second time in this game as he kicks off for Ramapo.
And going back to that last touchdown by Ramapo, I believe the Patriots have not given up a rushing touchdown in about 2 years. So Drew Gibbs, I have to give him credit here, did a great job thinking about the statistics and really did a nice job going to the pass, using play action, and getting one-on-one coverage on the outside.
Back to receive the kick are Ogden and DeSico, I believe.
Actually, it's
no.
Ogden and Jeremiah. I think the Patriots are in squib kick formation.
They are. Kickoff there to Kale. Kale brings it up the field, trying to find blockers. Brings it up to about the 32-yard line, which will set up Mike G and Papa and the Patriots offense.
One problem for the Green Raiders of Ramapo this season has been missed tackles. And as you saw on that last play, Ryan Durfee tried to dive and tackle Jeremiah Kale. And Durfee was disgusted after that last play. He thought he should have tackled Kale probably about 10 yards back. So Durfee not happy about that. And Ramapo really needs to work on their tackling. And guys, let's talk about Ramapo. We know they had a tough schedule to start the season. Old Japan, Ploshnick Valley, and Wayne Hills playing the cream of the crop in the NBAL. After the bye week, they have an easier schedule. Do they have any shot to possibly make states in North 1 Group 3?
Oh, I mean, they definitely have a chance. I mean, you can't rule that out as Wayne Hills burns a timeout. But no, I mean, after Wayne Hills, and after the bye week, you got Fairlawn, Ramsey, Bergenfield. You could, and then Demorest. You could, in Northern Highlands, you could definitely find a way to scrape off some victories there. And David, there's no deadline. It's just by the end of the season. I'm correct for states, right? There's no deadline to be at 500. I don't think so. It's all PowerPoints.
Actually, the deadline is November 3rd because most teams play a Thanksgiving game. So technically, there is a deadline. But Wayne Hills, their season usually ends the first week in November, and then they have states. Because Wayne Hills does not have a bye week. Their bye week's Thanksgiving. But Andrew, I know you said Bergenfield is on the schedule for Ramapo, as they are. But Bergenfield is no slouch anymore. Dogan Mardell is really turning that team into, I could say, a very competitive team. And after Andrew answers this question, Aaron will give us his thoughts on if Ramapo can possibly make states.
So 1st and 10 now for the Patriots. First team still in for the Patriots. Giampapa hands off there to DeSico, runs up the middle for about a gain of 7 on the play, which brings it to the 39-yard line.
Yeah, my feeling on Ramapo making the state playoffs is it looks rather bleak. I mean, their September schedule pretty hard, and they have a bye week ending out their September. Fairlawn probably will be an easier matchup than any of the first three. I mean, Fairlawn's record right now is 0-2. Then becomes a Ramsey, also a pretty easy game. But Bergenfield will be a challenge. Demorest will be a challenge. And
look at Nishi Pandy, sorry, Arian. John Annaloro doing the cheerleader things. I don't even know what to say. Oh, my goodness. Nishi Pandy moving, showing that he could do it all over again. I mean, that's just remarkable. Look at the man go. And oh, goodness. Christina Gowdy, Max Gowdy's sibling, former member of the Wayne Hills TV club, David. Max Gowdy.
Oh, my God. Send a memo to the cheerleading coach and give Nishi Pandy a tryout. He was just incredible out there. Oh, my gosh,
Nishi Pandy
folks.
move. Wow. That is phenomenal. And I will make a comment to him tomorrow.
Giampapa handed off there to DeSico for about a loss. Oh, he got back up for about a gain of about a yard or two. So that will bring up 3rd down.
Well, that's
2nd down, actually.
That's Danny DeSico right now, Mr. Something out of nothing. So
the Patriots just trying to milk the clock here, take some time off, run the ball. Let's talk about some other North Bergen Interscholastic League contests tonight. Old Japan traveled to Fairlawn as it had a mid-afternoon start. Old Japan, I would assume, is beating Fairlawn pretty badly. Even though Fairlawn's a little bit better this year, new coach in Stan Miles. They just installed the wing tee offense, so battle of wing tees. As you see, Wayne Hills is defeating Ramapo 37-7. Just under 8 minutes here remaining in the 4th quarter. I'll talk about some more NBAL matchups after this play.
Jipu. I formation for the Patriots. Hand it off there to Danny DeSico. Down the left sideline, trying to find a cutback. Gets to about the 35-yard line. Another sensational run by the DD Express.
Nice blocking there on the outside by Brian Ogden. Brian Ogden, he's made some big touchdown starts for the Patriots. But one thing that really goes unnoticed when you get instilled at wide receiver is blocking in the running game. He just paved some nice holes there for Dan Sickle. But getting back to some NBAL matchups, Indian Hills and Mawa, very intriguing matchup. Mawa came in here at 7-0 last year and then lost 35-0 against Winton Hills. But Indian Hills is very intriguing, guys. They have a very good quarterback who loves to throw the deep ball, Mike Mastrovetra, and he's really going to help Indian Hills surprise some teams this year.
This handoff to Seco, runs to the right,
There he
then back to the
goes.
left, finding room to the end zone. Danny DeSico
Number 5.
leaps into the end zone, and he's going to be flagged up. Oh, I love it, though. Danny, oh, I'm naming all my kids Danny DeSico. Danny, you are one of a kind.
Danny DeSico, words can't describe. Fantastic, phenomenal, spectacular.
And he is the LaDainian Tomlinson of the NBIL. Let me tell you. He's just a playmaker. He's his own human highlight reel. He's just fun to watch.
As they will call a 15-yard penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct on that play. Even though the Patriots are now going to be up 41-0, Coach Olson really doesn't like that kind of, I guess, antics you could say. And Dan DeSico,
they're gonna.
You almost never shows up the other team. I mean, I think it's a little harsh to call the penalty just because he leaped into the end zone. But let's see what Tim Divers has here as he's backed up 15 yards.
Yeah, Wayne Hills is going to pay for that in practice. Olson is a stickler for stuff like that.
Divers kick.
Oh, no!
Just low. So that's Divers' first missed point after attempt of the season. However, it came after the 15-yard penalty assessed by Danny DeSico.
So instead of possibly kicking a 19-yard field goal, Divers was backed up, so now it's a 34-yard kick. And now Olsen talking to Tim Divers, trying to teach him how to get more drive on his kicks. But pretty much Divers' extra point streak now gone at 21 kicks. So now Divers still has great numbers, though, 21 for 22 on the season.
It makes you think, though. I mean, they knocked him back 15 yards, and he was a little bit short of the crossbar, so maybe he might not be as reliable as people think he is when it comes to longer distance kicks and field goals.
Well, he's still growing. He's still going to get a lot stronger. This is only his first year kicking at the varsity level. So I bet you if that was senior year, he nails that kick easily.
Yeah, and he's a sophomore, so he's got time to go.
So now Kayo will kick off for the Patriots. Kayo kicks a squibber to the middle of the field, taken there by Zachary Moore. Up the middle, absolutely pummeled by the Patriots defense. So now,
very nice hit by Joe Volpe, getting in on that tackle there. And saw a little pushing on both sides. Tensions are flaring.
So guys, back to what I was saying about the Indian Hills Rays. That's Brian Rossman shooting for the highlight video. Rossman doing a great job, known as Rouseman around the hallways of Wayne Hills High School.
Brian Rossman.
He is a wonderful, wonderful cameraman.
One of the best that we've found.
You know, that Wayne Hills TV award, it's up for grabs right now. I know you two are probably favorites, but he's definitely up there.
We don't talk about those things. You don't want to jinx anything. Weiss in shotgun formation. Drops back to pass. Throws a deep one down the middle of the field. Great coverage there by Dries. But
Pass interference.
Pass interference there. Dries hit up Jesse Devon. Was that Devon Shuck? I don't think
Shuck's
so.
hurt.
He's hurt, so that could not have been him.
There's
So
number 6, I think, Jack Slingland.
Jack Slingland, yeah.
Yes.
Ronnie Dries and Jeremiah Kale both upset with the call, but I have to agree there with the official. Dries just came over the back and kind of pushed backwards Slingland a little bit.
That was clear defensive pass interference right now. Ronnie Dries having a great game, but a little bit of a slip up there.
41-17 with 6:41 remaining here in the ball game. Weiss lined up in shotgun. Handed off there to Imperatore. Taken down for a loss of about a yard. So now, actually that was Bandezian, pardon me, the freshman phenom for the Ramapo Green Raiders.
So as the Green Raiders of Ramapo fall further behind in games, that means more carries and more time to develop Jack Bandazian.
Questions, comments, concerns, Wayne Hills TV at AOL.com, Wayne Hills TV at AOL.com. Weiss in shotgun. Handed off there to Bandez. Actually, that was Imperatore as he takes it off the field for another good chunk of yardage. This is a concern. Excuse me. This is concern for the Patriots in the future.
Oh, definitely, because they're running the ball right up the middle of this offensive line. So I would definitely be concerned from Coach Olsen. And maybe put some more guys up in the box.
You know, this has to be sweet for these seniors. You gotta love it. Ramapo comes into Wayne Hills. A lot of hype. The rivalry has always been great. And for these seniors just to put the smackdown on Ramapo, 41-7 right now with 5:25 left in the fourth quarter. It's got to be a sweet feeling.
Weiss drops back in the pocket, finding space to throw. Throws it out of bounds. So now it will be 4th down and 3. Maybe try to kick a 61-yard field goal.
Oh,
with Ross Krautman.
We've got the cheerleaders on the screen right now. What you guys can't see is that both the JV and freshmen, as well as the varsity cheerleader squads, are out there. They work their butts off during the game. Phenomenal job.
Now, I was gonna give a shout out to Christina Bavona today for her efforts, but I overheard her talking in Spanish today, how she didn't like the day, February 9th. Now, folks, just so you know, that's my birthday, so I took it personal, and I'm just not going to give up.
Who could not like February 9th, Andrew?
You know, I like February 9th, too.
Pass incomplete. Turnover on downs. Ball now to the Patriots. I'd assume we see Mike Quinn and the boys.
Yes, Christina Bavona does make our Spanish class quite interesting.
As there's Danielle Kluger, one of the drum majors for the Wayne Hills Marching Band. Another drum major, Omar Nuke. Both of them really dedicated to the marching band, do a fantastic job.
An award-winning Wayne Hills Patriots band. And there's Mike Quinn going into the huddle.
As Mike Quinn has had a fantastic season for the junior varsity squad.
And Ugo Obilo also in the game now.
Anthony DeVita, Chris Fonte.
The 6'7" beast.
How could you miss him? He's the biggest guy on your TV screen right now, folks.
He is a monster.
Fonte. Nick Tuminello, they're all in. I love it. Mike Quinn and the boys. 5:09 remaining here. 41-7.
Man.
David, Aaron. This is it, Wayne Hills Ramapo. We won't see this again unless Ramapo makes the Group 3 playoffs. I'm getting anticlimactic, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I'm getting really anticlimactic also. The first time we saw Wayne Hills Ramapo high school students back on October 29th, 2004. The Patriots lost a heartbreaker here, 24-20. Ever since that, it's been all Wayne Hills. First, marching into Ramapo Stadium, facing Adrian Pizzare and Chris Hogan and Gianluca Ragone as Pizzare choked away with 3 interceptions. Wayne Hills won 38-28. And then the next contest, the comeback win, 27-26. Mike Peischel and Ray Van Penen really took over that game in the second half on offense. I remember Alex Gibson making a key touchdown pass out of the backfield. As you see Margaret Doherty's golf cart. But then in the playoffs in 2005, the Patriots really took over. 41-13. Chris Hogan, a non-existent game for Ramapo. Ray Van Penen, 5 touchdowns, 300 yards on the ground. It has to be the greatest high school football performance I have ever witnessed with my eyes. And then last year, the game in the rain, unfortunately, we couldn't air our broadcast because of the bad weather. We couldn't risk getting our cameras there. So Carlton Marston, fantastic performance in the second half, winning the Snapple Player of the Week. And now this year, Wayne Hills really sticking to Ramapo. Danny DeSico with 5 touchdowns tonight.
You know who I'd really like to see in the game right now? Mike Vigorita. I think it's time that Mr. Vigorita gets some snaps in this fourth quarter against Ramapo, his last time playing. Mike Vigorita, as you all know, a very dedicated member of the Wayne Hills football squad. I'd like to see him in the game right now. He's standing there, number 57 on the sidelines. I don't know if he's in your shot right now, but really dedicated, hardworking man, and hopefully he'll get some snaps.
Back to what David was saying about Ramapo. This is it, and I'm not gonna lie. It's upsetting. Quinn gets sacked there by a host of Green Raiders, and I just wish, I wish I could have it all back. And it's amazing that the last time that this team lost was our freshman year against Ramapo, and it's just amazing.
It's been a long time.
Wherever I go next year, I don't know where it's going to be, but next week I'll have some important things in order. Interview at Syracuse, could be applying early decision. Wherever I go, I'm definitely going to miss broadcasting games here at Patriot Stadium because this team has been so dominant. Players, coaches, parents, first class. It's just all the experiences that I've had here that you'll never get to really envision again. I'm really going to miss that. I have so many great memories, especially broadcasting with Andrew and Aaron. I've known you guys since I was little. Andrew, it's just been a great 4 years. I know we're not going anywhere yet. We still have a long season ahead of us, but I'm really going to miss the camaraderie and broadcasting games on Channel 77 when it's all said and done.
Oh, it's upsetting. I mean, we're still in September, though, so...
we still have lots to look forward to.
Boys and girls county soccer games. I'm looking forward to everything. Field hockey,
basketball,
Lona
basketball.
Osric and the girls soccer team. I'm jacked up.
We just got to take it all in, guys. Enjoy our senior year as much as we can because these memories last for a lifetime.
Taken up there by Andrew Imperatore, the native Italian. Taken Matt DeBlock. Now, David, let's talk about Matt DeBlock. The kid's got talent.
Oh, this guy has so much talent. He's a great wide receiver. He has great hands. He's fast, and he can really jump. All I can say is if I'm a wide receiver, I don't want to run where he's standing in the middle of the field because you will get smacked down to the grass. And his mother, Mrs. DeBlock, very appreciative of the job we do in these broadcasts. She came up to me after our pregame show. She complimented us. So we're very appreciative of her comments towards us.
I mean, it's just, we really appreciate all your comments, whether they're positive, mostly positive. Very rare negative ones we'll hear.
We've had a few negative ones back in the day, a couple years ago. We're not going to mention any of them.
Yeah, well.
Nothing from football, though.
But I mean, constructive criticism always makes us better. So what we hear, if it's good or if it's bad, it's always beneficial to how we broadcast in the future. And we thank everybody for their comments.
I mean, we have had our share of times. So 133 remaining. This is it. This is it, Wayne Hills Ramapo for us. Unless, bearing a miracle, they reel off into the playoffs, the Green Raiders. This is it. We've been a part of the rivalry, Dave.
We've been a part of some huge games. I'll never forget the comeback win at Ramapo Stadium, my first Wayne Hills Ramapo action. But I think it's really going to be tough for Ramapo. First of all, I think they need to go 5-0. As number 87, James Stone getting into the action along with Matt Rubin, some super juniors for this Wayne Hills team. Getting back to what I was saying, Ramapo needs to go 5-0 in order to make states, in my opinion, because first of all, they might not have the power points anyway, because if they beat teams like Demarest and Fairlawn and Northern Highlands, I just don't see those wins getting them enough power points to get into the state tournament. So they really need to run the table. And the key game will be against Bergenfield, because I think Bergenfield could really give this Ramapo team a challenge.
Absolutely. They're the team that can make some noise. As the Patriots line up in championship formation, Quinn takes a knee.
Also, another thing that was different about this game and other games, MSG did not denote this game as their game of the week because the Ramapo has not been as competitive in recent years. So MSG did the T-Net Clifton game in Clifton, but MSG might be doing the Wayne Hills Ultapan game at Ultapan. We'll have to see what their schedule is.
We will find out in the coming weeks.
As the clock winds down, 30 seconds left in this game.
30 seconds away for the Patriots. 31 victories in a row and 5 in a row against the Ramapo Raiders.
What a wonderful game, guys. This was just a great game all around. The offense was clicking on all cylinders. The defense held it together for most of the game. Just a wonderful game.
Guys, that's it. The Wayne Hills Patriots have defeated the Ramapo Green Raiders 41-7 here at Patriot Stadium. And a great effort for the seniors as they finish their careers undefeated against Ramapo, bearing any playoff action coming up. Great game for the Wayne Hills Patriots. Danny DeSico, the man of the night, 5 touchdowns. Gentlemen, what do you have to say about the game in general?
Well, Dan DeSico totally dominated this game, and Wayne Hills really made a statement from the start. Drew Gibbs played a conservative, didn't go for it on 4th down, and Dan DeSico made him pay the big punt return. So special teams really set up this game nicely for the Patriots. They had great field position all night, and DeSico finished off a couple of easy runs for touchdowns. Had a lot of long runs too, like the last run that he had for a touchdown. Carlton Marson also getting into the act with a touchdown for this Wayne Hills team. So Wayne Hills really did it running the ball. They took a lot of pressure on Mike Giampapa. Giampapa has shown earlier this season that when he's called upon, he can make the big play through the air. But tonight, he didn't really have to. And the defense wasn't as good as it was in earlier weeks. They had a little bit of trouble stopping the run. But Andrew Weiss just did not look good tonight at all. They put so much pressure on him. But, you know, it's a great win for Wayne Hills. And they need to work on their run defense and their offensive line play and defensive line play a little bit going into their road trip at Mile on Old Japan.
You know, there are 2 numbers that stand out in your mind when you look at this game in Wayne Hills this season so far, and that's points for and points against. Wayne Hills points for this season, 153 in 3 games. That's an average of 51 points a game. That's phenomenal. Points against, 7. That's an average of a little bit more than 2 points a game. You know what? It doesn't get much better than this. When Wayne Hills is clicking on all cylinders, they are easily one of the top teams in this state. They're actually sitting at number 3 now. They passed up St. Joe's last week. They're in the top, 30 teams in the nation right now, and they're definitely the best public school in the nation. So, and top 4 in the tri-state, yeah.
Who's going to, in the pregame, I'm not going to brag here, but I did say who's going to make the big play. That was one of my key points. You could say much. Danny DeSico, 5 touchdowns. Remarkable. Ronnie Dries, defense, with an interception, coming up big with a couple pass deflections and touchdowns. The kid came to work, guys.
Oh, Ronnie Dries, sensational performance tonight. First career start. Danny DeSico now 11 touchdowns on the season. So Danny DeSico could have over 30 touchdowns when it's all said and done this year.
Fantastic, guys. 41-7 around at Patriot Stadium. And that will be it from Patriot Stadium for everybody. Brian Rossman, Patrick Calabrese, Sean DePeri, Conor, Peckham, Mike Botwinick, Dan Cohen, Mr. Jim Hoogstraight, Aaron Ploshnick, David Suntup, Sean Yu, Kyle Kattine, and Brian Dubow, our sideline reporter. I'm Andrew Gayo. We have some credits by the men downstairs. Have a great evening. Take care.
Good night, guys.